We weren't here last night.
Last night we didn't do it.
I'm there to Lane Shepherd. Liz here?
Who's Lane Shepherd?
The person I was born with.
Okay. Well, one thing I will tell you is we didn't do anything last night.
No worries. Neighbors were calling in again saying you guys did.
Sounds good.
That being said, the tickets get expensive. We gotta come back out here. You know, these keeps coming up and neighbors keep calling.
Understand that. Yeah, we'll definitely turn it down. I mean, you're probably off, maybe like very low volume.
Okay. Yeah, you can have a party. You can have some music, just not loud enough for people at home in the same place.
Sounds good. No worries.
Yeah, we should have. We were going to go talk to him before we go.
Yeah, maybe do a lap with your music.
Yeah, we should do that next
That's a
time.
good idea.
You live here?
I'm
We both
one of them.
Okay.
We're both
You
good.
do. Your name?
My name's Elliot, Elliott, and then Lund, Lundh.
Middle initial?
I have two middle names. PF.
Date of birth for you?
99.
Just one more right here.
My bad. I was
How you doing, man?
Eric. Since my number's very similar to my mom's, so I can keep it on that.
Nah, this is the best.
I've heard it's memorized.
And
Happens.
to board.
I think you guys are lucky the little lady who lived there was gone now.
Oh,
I
really?
think it's a rental property now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely check it.
DEV. I apologize.
This is our first time.
Sorry about that.
And
GORD.
but you guys obviously know the drill.
Yeah, initials.
Right.
What's that?
You guys obviously know the drill, right?
We gotta be smart from now on.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
It would be. It definitely would be.
Perfect. Again, are you guys freshmen or?
Oh, we're seniors.
Seniors. Okay, so you know the drill. You know how it goes.
Of course.
Since you guys live here, you're responsible for the music.
Okay.
So we have to come back out. What's the noise to take it up to these days?
Oh God, it's like 350.
Yeah, we don't want to pay that.
That's a
We don't want to pay that. Next time, we'll definitely check
The
the
later at night it gets, the more expensive it gets.
Okay.
So spend the money on beer instead, not on tickets. Keep the music down, have a good party, make sure everyone's over 21.
Yeah.
If we do have to come back out here, you two guys are each getting tickets. Got it?
I understand.
So it's on the
Fair
next
enough,
day, make sure the party stays down.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one.
Take care, guys. Good luck. Yeah, thank you. Hot semester. And in some cases, like when we get here and that stereo's going,
Yeah.
I would also go contact them because it was non-specific.
Sure.
And if I'm warning them, I better go fucking warn them.
Sure. And that's the bottom of your own house there?
Which one? The one here? That one? That one's up on, goes through that driveway, the guy's walking right there.
Oh, yeah.
That side there. Guarantee the stairs are gonna come right back on as soon as we leave.
Well, I saw that big tall JBL on the back patio there, so I'll stick down with that.
Okay, I'll come with you. You wanna walk up or do you wanna?
Yeah. Start things out.
Just, it wouldn't be fair, you know, if you're warning these guys, you better warn them.
Yeah, good point.
And Moscow 11. Still on the department channel. Moscow 111. We're clear of 1127 King Road. We're going to be out at 1122 Queen Road. Same problem. Hey guys, can you send someone out who lives here, please?
I'm looking for one with the garage.
Nope. Sorry, you can always call us later and ask in case it gets turned in here. Their business line.
Sweet, thank you.
You bet.
Sorry about the commercials, everybody. I wanted to see if they could drive around with a car. You can't because it's tough terrain, I see. Rocks, and very hard on a car, a truck,
No one's coming to the door.
tree stump. Pay attention to the details, everybody. Pay attention to the details. See where the culprit could have lied in wait for 3 to 5 months.
Yeah, I took one look at that speaker. I said,
Watch the details. Look around at the surroundings. A car can't get up there to drive, so you gotta go by foot. Obviously, the landlord didn't cut the grass. Look
You
around
know, a
at the
guy can
surroundings.
argue private property
Pay attention.
access.
the way I've always done it, correct me if I'm wrong, was the way I did it there. Find one responsible, have everyone else hold them accountable. If I gotta come back here, they get the ticket. Because then it's on them to nip everyone else in the butt.
Yeah, and if they don't come out, we just contact landlords. Or we come back the next day or the next time you work.
Yeah.
And just note that your lack of cooperation does not go a long ways with us.
Several windows on the bottom. The outside of the door. Pay attention to all the windows. Screen was down months beforehand. Okay, good to see that. All right. This helps us to understand more about the house and the surroundings. Wooded terrain, grass not cut. Easy for somebody to blend in and watch. Very dense right in there.
No
Trees.
stairs to the back deck. Interesting.
Pay attention. How did the killer get in?
Oh, yeah.
Good, how are you?
Yeah, is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. No, over here.
I assume noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah,
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, we have an issue.
fair.
You as well?
Yeah,
Okay, over here.
senior.
Okay. So I'll tell you the same thing I told them. You probably know the drill, right?
Actually, no.
Oh, okay. So usually, at least for me, I'll give you a verbal warning.
Okay.
Once I have neighbors calling in, music's too loud, you're disturbing the peace.
Yeah.
Nothing against having parties, nothing against having people over who are overage to drink. But again, once we start disturbing the neighbors, then we've got an issue.
Yeah.
Always take it as up to 300.
Yeah, somewhere around 300, 400
That's
bucks.
a pretty expensive ticket. I don't want to get that to you. That being said, this is your place, so I'm going to hold you responsible.
Make it more expensive later, it gets.
Yeah.
We already warned them too, so.
And if I do have to come back here, $300 tickets.
Fair.
I don't think it's more expensive. Fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely.
Actually, this is the phone number for it. Is this 11?
As you can see from the street, you have a bullseye view of the people hanging out on the back of the patio
Or some beer or something.
from
Yeah.
the street, Queen
Yeah,
Road.
thank you. I appreciate it.
That being said, warnings. Don't do it again.
Yep.
I'd hate to come back and.
Does that window open? Do they keep it locked?
All right, have a issue.
Ticket.
You could easily step right in the window, lift it up if it wasn't locked. Say, whoa. Window to the left, to the right, and another window, 2 windows to the right. Look at the terrain. How easy would it be to stand and watch if nobody's paying attention? Thank you all so much for joining me. This is the vault. Why is the grass not cut? Who is the landlord of this place? Very interesting.
All right, who's responsible here? Who's responsible here? Whose house is this?
On top of the roof.
Can you talk to a homeowner or a renter or whoever's house is this?
I'm one of the people renting.
Okay, gotcha. You guys were warned for the noise last night, sounds like? Same type of thing, you guys were having a party, cops came out.
We were here last night.
Last night we didn't do it.
Is there an Elena Shepherd that lives here?
Who's the lady Shepherd?
The person that was warned for the noise last night? Okay, we,
Well, one thing I will tell you is we didn't do anything last night.
no worries. Neighbors are calling in again saying music's too loud.
Okay.
All I need you guys to do is turn it down.
Sounds good.
That being said, the tickets get expensive. We gotta come back out here and, the music keeps coming up and neighbors keep calling. Fair
Understand.
enough.
Yeah, definitely turn it down.
You're
Probably off, maybe like very low volume.
Okay. Yeah. You can have a party. You can have music, just not loud enough for people to call in and say, hey.
We should have. We were ready to go talk to them before.
Yeah, maybe do a lap with your neighbors. Let them know what's up.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. You live here?
I'm
We both-
one of them.
Okay. Let me grab your name.
My name is Elliott, ELLIOTT.
Last name?
Lund, LUNDH.
Middle initial?
I have two middle names.
Just give me both.
PF.
PF. Date of birth for you?
99.
Good phone number I can reach at.
My bad.
What's the area code on that?
Gary.
Okay.
So it's,
Oh, I got you.
my number's very similar to my mom's, so I confuse it.
Happens to the best. What's
I've
your
heard,
name, man?
I've heard
John, Kian,
happens.
DeBoard, DEB, so with the D.
Oh, TED. Okay, gotcha.
D, yeah.
Yeah, we
That
definitely
was fine. DEB, I apologize.
This is our first
Sorry about that.
You're good. TEB?
BORD, my middle initials A. What's that?
Date of birth?
Yeah.
They would. They definitely
And my
would.
phone number is
Okay. Perfect. Again, are you just freshmen or
we're seniors.
seniors? Okay, so you know the drill. You know how this goes. Since you guys live here, you're responsible for the music. So we have to come back out. What's the noise complaint take it up to these days? Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to pay that.
Yeah.
We don't want to pay that. Next time, we'll definitely check with the neighbors.
The more expensive it is.
Okay.
So spend the money on beer instead, not on tickets. Keep the music down, have a good party, make sure everyone's over 21.
Yeah.
If we do have to come back out here, you two guys are each getting tickets, got it?
I understand.
So it's on the rest of you, make sure the party stays down.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one. Yeah, take care, guys, enjoy the party.
Thank you.
And in some cases, like when we get here and hear those going,
Yeah,
I would also contact them because it's non-specific.
sure.
And
Right,
I'm
I think they're just replaying
True.
videos,
And
walking
that's
their
the bottom of the
view,
house there.
everything. It's a repeat.
Yeah,
That was up on, that red lady that's walking right there,
oh, yeah.
that side there. Guarantee it's very good, go right back on.
Well, I saw that big tall JBL on the back patio there, so I'll just go chat with them.
Okay, I'll come with you.
Yeah, we'll walk up. We'll start things off on good foot.
It would be fair, you know, if you're one of these guys, you better warn them.
Yeah, it's a good point.
All right, going back up, this is just a repeat, replay, going back to the girl's house. They're giving everybody warnings because they didn't want to just give one house a warning. But who's doing the calling? The police had to have just roll around and with these houses. Who is calling the police?
In personal injury cases, liability and damages are the two main issues.
Who's calling? Who's calling? Who's calling?
We're clear of 1127 King Road. We're gonna be out at 1122 King Road.
Taking a deep dive into these phone calls, complaints. How many complaints did the girls get from August
How's it
to
going, guys?
November? 6 cars in the yard.
Casey, I'm just gonna loop around up here.
Let me go back to that Jeep. Because they said she moved, she got the Jeep 2 days ahead of time. Let's look at that again. Because that's the same tag on the Jeep that was there after the murder. Let's pay close attention to the information, everybody. Is this her Jeep in August? And that means the information is not true. Is that a Land Rover?
How's it going, guys?
Pierce is the same name on the back of that silver Range Rover that she bought before death. Perhaps she traded in. Who else got a truck from Pierce Auto?
Casey,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
What
loop
I'm
around up
saying
here.
is it's got the same tag name on the back ring.
Hey there. Is this your place, man? Okay, would you mind going and getting somebody who's place this?
You can see
Oh,
straight
shit.
through no house, no
You
curtains,
want to
no
send her up
blinds.
here? I apologize. We knocked at the front door, no one came. Yep, thanks, man.
blinds up?
Took one look at that speaker. I said,
Any curtains? Look at the wooded area where a person can stand and watch, not be seen. Trees covering the parking lot area. Could you walk straight back to the parking lot of the adjacent apartment
the
building?
way I've
This
always
was
done it, and
bad.
correct me if I'm wrong, was the way I did it there. Find one responsible, have everyone else hold them accountable. If I got to come back here, they're getting the ticket. Because then it's on them to nip everyone else in the bud because they
We
know.
don't come out, we just contact landlords.
Yeah.
Or we come back the next day or the next time you work.
Yeah.
There's no, a lot of cooperation does not go a long ways with us.
Yeah.
You can look directly into the house. Nobody was home. Does that door lock from the outside? I can't see a lock on the out or anywhere to put a key or latch. Can you only lock it from the inside? Stay woke.
Upstairs to the back.
Two windows on the bottom on this level. How did the perpetrator get in?
Upstairs to the back deck. Interesting.
Too easy to walk around to the parking lot of the adjacent parking lot. Is this how he came? He drove his car up and parked.
Good, how are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You over here.
I speak noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Fair.
You go to school?
Yeah,
Okay. What year?
senior.
Senior. Okay. So I'll tell you the same thing I told them. You probably know the drill, right?
Actually, no.
Oh, okay. So usually, at least for me, I'll give you a verbal warning.
Okay.
Once I have neighbors calling in, your music's too loud, you're disturbing the peace.
Yeah.
Nothing against having parties, nothing against having people over who are overage to drink.
Mhm.
But again, once we start disturbing the neighbors, then we've got an issue.
Yeah.
Noise ticket is up to 300.
Yeah,
And,
somewhere around 300.
okay, it's a pretty expensive ticket. I don't want to give that to you. That being said, this is your place, so I'm going to hold you responsible.
Uh-huh.
Because it is your place, you're also responsible for everybody here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grab your info.
Yeah.
And if I do have to come back here, a $300 some ticket's coming your way.
Okay.
And it only gets more expensive from there. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely.
$300 ticket if I have to come back.
That's just
But yet
what's
next
the phone
month,
for you?
the police was back 2 times on September 1st. Look at the date of the video,
Is this 11/22 here?
Yeah.
Okay.
2022. Police did come back 2
How
weeks
much would
later.
you spend that $300 on beer or something fun then?
Yeah.
Noise
yeah.
ticket, right?
Yeah.
All right,
I
Jim, I
appreciate
will calm
it.
down.
That being said, warnings, don't do it again.
Yep.
I'd hate to come back and
Give
hours
them a
and
warning,
have to issue that, so.
8/16.
Any questions for me?
No.
All right. Have a
Return
great
2
day.
weeks later on the 1st. Very interesting information, everybody. Law and Crime is the source. Thank you for joining me. You are now listening to The Vault. Let's chop up what we have seen in this live stream. Thank you all so much for joining me. Hold on, you guys. Thank you for following the content. Had to put that on the big screen since I rarely play videos, so people can not just hear audio. Let's chop up what you think about that video, because the video gives you an insight into how the kids were living, their attitudes, dispositions. 2 weeks from this video, the police has returned back to this house at night for noise complaints. Was Kohberger stalking the victims on the 16th when this video was made? Was he there 2 weeks later on the 1st? How did he pick out the victims? This is a comprehensive dive into that video and the complaints against the girls and where was Kohberger, because we now have information through the affidavit. He was on the scene of this house 12 times and during the day. If I'm to believe this is military time, is that right? 5 o'clock in the evening? Please correct me if I'm wrong with the 1700 hours. Is that 5 o'clock in the evening? Thank you all so much for following the content. This is a comprehensive dive of the locale of the house. The grass wasn't cut. You can't drive a car around there with the tree cut down, rocks. This is why you always have to pay attention to the details of the house, how it's made, your way to travel in and out. That would have been flat in November. No trees, wooded bushes. They hadn't cut the grass. Why not? He could have lied in wait and nobody would have seen anything, because when you are oblivious to your surroundings, you're not paying attention. You're not expecting someone to be stalking you, number one. You're not expecting someone to be planning your death, number two. You're not expecting any of this. 5 o'clock. So after 5 o'clock, this video was filmed. House around the corner. Number two, this house, he decides to give them a warning because he feels like that was the right thing to do. Who is the caller of the noise? Because you're talking about two separate houses that aren't even close to each other where there are noise complaints. Who called in the complaint next to the boy's house and this house? Stay woke. Could it be Kohberger's upset, angry? The girls are partying. He's upset. He feels some type of way. They're enjoying themselves. They've got the life he wants. They're partying with nice-looking guys, nice-looking girls. I'm angry as hell. I want to be a part of this party. I didn't get to do this in college at my age. I didn't have girls falling over me, fawning over me, dating, sex. Who is the caller? Is the caller the same person? Don't know. How many times has the police been out to that address up until November 13th? Were the neighbors tired of them? Were the police tired of them? Fast forward now, how does everybody feel? The kids that was at that house, those guys, as you see, a guy comes out of there with Kaylee. So she was fraternizing with guys. Don't know if any of them were a love interest or date interest. Neither here nor there now. But it goes to show the terrain, what it looks like before. Because the stalker allegedly was stalking, they said, for 5 months. So was it June or was it August when Kohberger started stalking this house? Because if he was coming during the day, he would have seen these parties. So we need to know when he exactly touched down Washington soil. And how did he come to target this house? Interesting information. Thank you for following the content. Law and Crime, 5 hours ago. Did Kaylee Gonsalves know Bryan Kohberger before the student murders? And why is it she's the one mentioned as knowing Kohberger? Why couldn't it be Maddie, Xana, the other two girls? Stay woke.
For you on the case of Bryan Kohberger, that 28-year-old PhD student now charged with killing 4 University of Idaho students. They were Kaylee Gonsalves, Maddie Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. Well, we've been telling you that the families of these victims have been looking for any possible connections between Kohberger and their loved ones who were murdered. And we can tell you that the attorney representing the family of Kaylee Gonsalves says they haven't found any connection. They don't believe that Kaylee knew Bryan Kohberger at all. And they say they've turned any information they have over to the Moscow Police Department. The question, of course, remains, did Bryan Kohberger know any of the other victims in this case? Kernodle, Chapin, or Maddie Mogen?
Exactly.
We can't answer that question for you at this time, but we know that Moscow police continue to investigate whether or not Bryan Kohberger knew these people. We know that he moved to the area, to Pullman, Washington in August of 2022.
Exactly.
And according to that affidavit for probable...
We now have information which is contradictory. Some people say the pings put him June, but it can't be he was watching in June if he was not living in Pullman, Washington. So what is the truth? Because this is not good information. They say he made it there in August. This footage is August 16th. Police going to the house, and then September 1st, they go back Labor Day 2 times to warn the girls. In this first video, you will see Kaylee talking, you entitled to your interpretation of her attitude and disposition. But one could say that the girls really didn't care about noise complaints, because in the second installment of videos that have come out via body cam, they let the boys answer the door and somebody said the girls were not there, that they went to another house. I don't think I believe that. I think the girls were there all along and they knew about the warning 2 weeks beforehand and that they'd get the $300 ticket, which I'm sure they would not want. And as you see, the police want somebody to stand account on the tickets if they issued a ticket. So the girls knew the routine. This is not good. Because one could say they were frivolous in their behavior to not care about noise complaints after being warned 2 weeks before, which is the video I just showed you. And they played possum pretending they were not at the house. And of course, naturally, everyone has lived, been young. One can say, well, that's not worth death. Not saying it has anything to do with it, just saying disposition. Can't say Kohberger knew them, didn't know them, how he found them. Could have found them the old-fashioned way. Didn't have to necessarily see him on social media. Could have been driving around. Could have been his sole reason to move to Washington State was to emulate one of his serial killers he admired. I'm going to go to the Pacific Northwest. A lot of serial killers derive out of the Pacific Northwest. I'm going to do my handiwork over there. Because what's going to be a problem is if this commentary says he touched down in August, how would police have pings of his phone at 1122 King Road in June? The plot thickens. See, the queen pays attention. What is the truth? Was he in Pullman in August 2022 or June? Because what is going to be very interesting, just follow me here. He was in and out by flying or driving, casing the area out before even securing a property at student housing. So this would lead one to believe, if this cannot be corrected, this information I'm bringing to you, that he deliberately cased out Moscow, Idaho for its hunting ground and or the girls in the house. So I need verification of when he touched down and moved into housing at Washington State. Because they are saying, some people, that they pinged in June. I didn't really notice that in the affidavit, that it was June. This commentary says he's got there in August. So we have to have verification of when he actually got to the Pacific Northwest, secured an apartment, actual pings to Washington and Idaho, and pings to this house. Thank you so much for joining me. He could have had binoculars.
Cause that was submitted to the court to charge him with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. That they say cell phone data showed that he, or at least his phone, were in the area of the home where these students lived at least 12 times between August and November 13th of last year.
Okay, so now law and crime brings me what I've been asking for. He stalked the house 12 times between August 2022 and November 2022. That is not a long time. That is just 3 months. So what is the actual date in August? Was he at this scene when the kids got this warning August 16th? Where was Kohberger? Where was Kohberger September 1st at 10 p.m., they have it documented that that is the one time he was stalking the house or near the house at night. Please listen to me carefully. After 10 p.m., he sat outside of the house for 1 hour. The other times he stalked the house was during daylight savings time. Stay woke. That means he either had night classes or he was cutting his time to run over to Moscow to stalk the house and then run back in order to go to classes, which is it? This is very dangerous information. 12 times from August to November. So that means he didn't get there until August then. So it can't be June. So that's not accurate if we're to believe the commentary from Law and Crime. I want to say this for the last time. He was only at the house one time at night. One time. The other times are during the day. Please read the affidavit. You all worry me to death to read it. So that's the information. One time after 10 p.m. He stayed out for 1 hour. The other times, it was during the day. So this may allude to what the student said about him coming to class late. Please pay attention. Exactly. So we
Bryan
can see
Kohberger
everything.
will be in court on Thursday for what is a status hearing. At that time, a couple of decisions could be made by his lawyers as they meet, and it'll be a brief hearing with the court. So let's listen to what the attorney for Kaylee Gonsalves' family, Shannon Gray, believes will happen at that hearing.
You have to realize the status hearing is going to be one of two things. The status hearing will be, yes, we want a preliminary hearing. And so they'll set a date for the preliminary hearing to start. Or no, we're waiving the preliminary hearing, so they'll set a date for the arraignment. So that's all that's going to happen on the status hearing. Sure. So I'll be there, but throughout this process, that I will be there or some representative of the family will be at every court appearance moving forward.
That status hearing will begin at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 Eastern time, and Law and Crime will have it covered for you. Bryan Kohberger, of course, remains in the Latah County Jail being held without bail. For Law and Crime, I'm Anjanette Levy.
All right, everybody. Anjanette Levy, Law and Crime. If you need verification for the information to hear it again, please go to the YouTube queue and my community page. Did Kaylee know this wacko beforehand? Let's talk about this draft public statement. Kohberger, if you killed these kids, which I believe you did, why in the world would you have the audacity to speak of them in general terms of condolences, knowing you killed them? I believe you are only going through with this trial is to toot your own horn that you did it, relive the crime by sitting in the courtroom and watching testimony of forensics, pictures, eyewitness testimonies, data gathered by the FBI, police. The point is you got caught. So I don't know why anybody would want to relive committing a crime and getting caught, but I'm not you. Let's hear what they have to say. Thank you for joining me.
Who represented Kohberger immediately after his arrest. What have you learned?
Yeah, this was interesting, actually, because last time we saw the public defender in Pennsylvania, Jason Labar, he was with Kohberger in court. I was in the courtroom, but he had not seen the 18-page probable cause. So now he has. I asked him what he thought about it, and he says he thinks there are holes in the probable cause. He is questioning the phone pings. He says that those pings are not specific GPS coordinates, and he says the defense can have a field day with those pings, calling them out. He is also questioning the description of Kohberger from the surviving roommate, that description that she says was, you know, the man who is about 6 feet tall and the bushy eyebrows. He says it's just not specific enough. And then I asked him about the statement. Remember that statement that he initially put out right after Kohberger was arrested. Very interesting. Kohberger had a lot to do with that statement. Listen to what he told me. The statement that you released from Kohberger, where he, said that he was innocent, essentially. Did you write the statement with him? I don't know if you can share how that statement came about.
The statement came about Friday night when I talked to him, and then I went out to the jail at 5 o'clock. I know there was a lot of people, a lot of news media outlet at the jail at that time, but I knew it was dark out, so I could essentially sneak in under the cover of dark and be able to talk to him without anyone knowing that I was actually there. And I spoke to him for about an hour. I let him know about the statement, that I wanted to get a statement out there because with all of the news media, I knew there was going to obviously be issues as far as him receiving potentially a fair trial. People jumping to conclusions, automatically you worry about the presumption of innocence and the integrity of the criminal justice system. So I said, Bryan, is it okay if we get a statement out? And that's when he brought up the eager to be exonerated language. And obviously that was included in the statement.
So that was him. That was him who wanted to put that in.
The eager to be exonerated was the language he used. We put it in the statement. But obviously when I talked to him about the eager to be exonerated, to me, when we talked about it, it was more or less he was asserting innocence, but that's the language he used.
So very interesting, Ashley, that Bryan Kohberger, is the one who came up with those words, eager to be exonerated. Mr. LeVar also said he does not believe that Kohberger can get a fair trial here in Moscow, Idaho.
Oh, come on. Stop the nonsense.
Trial will likely eventually be moved to another jurisdiction.
It's not going anywhere.
Well, I think Mr. LeVar, it brings up a very good point. This is the kind of thing we have to deal with every time there's a high-profile crime and a high-profile defendant. Every time we've covered a Casey Anthony or an O.J. Simpson or a Jodi Arias, there's the issue of how to pick a jury where everybody knows everything about the case. And by the way, you can. Because
Exactly.
they all had fair juries. They all found juries in those cases. So it will be difficult. Granted. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about this hearing tomorrow. It's so hard, Bryan, to find out any information with the gag order, but we do know one thing, and I don't know if it's telling, they had to move the time. Was there some security issue or some particular reason why all of a sudden the docket changed and the time for his appearance changed?
It's a good question, and you mentioned it because of the gag order. We can't call up the defense, or we can't call up the prosecutor. We can't even call up the police. None of them are allowed to talk to us. But yes, it's now been moved to 8 a.m. We're told by the courts, they actually put out a release today saying that they believe that it will be short and mainly focused on scheduling. Likely both sides are going to talk about when exactly they want to have a preliminary hearing.
So maybe that's the reason that Steve and Christy Gonzalez, as News Nation learned exclusively tonight, are not going to be in that courtroom. They're going to follow this by Zoom. I think, thank God for them, the overwhelming emotion that it takes just to get dressed in the morning, that you have to look across the courtroom at the man who's accused of killing your baby. So the curiosity of the 8 a.m., it's such a small courtroom. And last time there was this long line. I saw you and so many other journalists. And then there's the public. It's a public process. Do we know if the public's going to be let in again, or if they're going to have to do a huge organized, line to pick the first 10 and that's it?
Yeah, it seems the public will be let in. You mentioned it. There were just two women I just met out here right before your show started who said they're going to be here tomorrow morning trying to get in the courtroom. I'll probably get here at least 2 hours early to line up. Because there was such a long line last time, and it's a small place. I mean, it's a small jail, and it's a small courtroom, so they can only let in so many people.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
News Nation is the source. So here, this public defender who represented him in Pennsylvania before he was extradited back to Idaho is speaking of the statement that he issued because he felt like people were jumping to conclusions pertaining to his client. Well, sir, people are entitled to their opinion. People are going to think what they want. This is what people do. It's the American way. But I think it's disrespectful. This Kohberger, I thought you were trying to tell me that he was the one that said something about the families and the kids, because I know damn well this fool would not be stupid enough to say anything about these damn kids, knowing he's the one that killed the kids. maybe that was your office rendering. But Kohberger's words you said were eager to be exonerated. Well, he hasn't even been found guilty. A verdict hasn't been given. We haven't had a jury choosing. So why do you need to be exonerated when you haven't even been given an indictment by the grand jury? You haven't sat before a jury. But that's because your mind is speaking stupidly ahead. Like what happened at the crime scene and thereafter. You're sloppy. That's why you're in jail. See, I always tell you to listen to the information because the information is going to lead you to the truth. Everybody knows what the word exonerated means if you have finished the 12th grade. Exonerated means I've already been found guilty and I'm trying to prove my innocence because I know I didn't commit the crime. Stay woke now. Did these girls know Kohberger? What is the truth to this information? How did he find these kids? What is the nexus between the perpetrator, alleged perpetrator, and the girls? Did Idaho suspect study criminology to learn how to commit a crime? Many of us believe that he did. He basically studied criminology, psychology to learn about himself while being fascinated, enamored with the killers because they had a common link, bond. They had similar qualities that he possesses. And perhaps he became immersed in seeing people in textbook form as if looking through the looking glass. They're like me. I'm like them. We are eerily similar. How is that? Imagine that. News Nation is the source. Thank you for joining me. The link will be dropped after the last audio. Thank you. If you're in the chat, feel free to hit the link. I will only allow people from the chat to comment. Thank you.
Criminology have fit into all of this. Joining me now is criminologist and author Michael Arnfield. Michael, thank you very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. All right. So, there was an op-ed piece, for example, in the New York Times of a criminologist basically saying, don't blame criminology here. That's a very different thing. You agree with that?
I do. I first of all, criminology is a highly theoretical, model-based approach to understanding the origins of crime. I know of no traditional criminology program, and this is one of them. I looked into this. That offers, for instance, practical homicide investigation or common forensic countermeasures. I mean, this isn't a place where you go, particularly at that level, to school yourself on how to get away with murder, to quote the television network series that a lot of people seem to be drawing perhaps influence from and coming to this conclusion.
What do you make, though, of the possibility that the motive was, and putting aside criminology for a moment, just to try to create the perfect crime?
Well, Dan, as you've correctly pointed out, this is the antithesis of the perfect murder in terms of the mistakes made, thankfully. We can only speculate as to motive at this point. I mean, clearly, and this has been mentioned before, whether or not there's a direct connection, this may end up being what's known as a targeted stranger attack, meaning one or more of the victims was on his radar. They may not have known it. And whether this was a thrill-seeking exercise on his part, really, I mean, we're hearing that, like a lot of, quite frankly, people in academic life, he thrived on needing to know or be affirmed as being the smartest man in the room. I mean, did that narcissism play into this? It's likely a factor. Clearly, he has an underlying interest in this type of stuff. Now, whether that was born out of his study of criminology or he was attracted to criminology by dint of a pre-existing interest in murder and mayhem, this will all come out. I would be particularly interested, actually, in and these will be accessible at some point, having a look at the papers that he's written. What were sort of his areas of undergraduate and then graduate interest and speciality? And is there some intersectionality there?
Is there a fear among you or others in your field that the field of criminology will now be stigmatized?
You know, that initially did occur to me when this was announced, that there would be, rightly or wrongly, a nexus drawn by the media between what he was studying and, of course, these horrible crimes. I mean, but if you think back, the last PhD mass murderer was, of course, James Holmes outside of Aurora, Colorado, the Batman shooter. No one drew connections to his study in neuroscience to the crime. I mean, it's strictly.
I don't think neuroscience will count.
Unfortunate coincidence that he happened.
Come on now, dear.
That I think now people are going to say, well, you know, everyone studying criminology at that level must have some ulterior motive, and it's simply not the case.
And here's the good news. The good news for your field is that there are a lot of his fellow classmates came out and spoke, and, you know, they all seemed to be, you know, interesting folks who were fascinated by the field rather than potential murderers.
Precisely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on the show.
All right, everybody. Mr. Abrams talking to a psychologist. What is the motive? Who was the target? Was he just thrill seeking? Had nothing to do with psychology? Criminology? What is the motive? Was he reinventing a scary movie? Many of you keep talking about the sister being in a movie. Was he trying to reinvent a scary movie? Because as I said, when I listened at the version given from DM in the affidavit, kind of sounds like a really bad, scary movie. Low budget. Opening and closing doors. That is usually what they do in scary movies. Stay woke. I don't believe in far-fetched theories, but I'm also not Mr. Kohberger. I don't know him. I don't know his mindset. I don't know what happened to him as a child, high school, bullying, overweight, insecure. I don't know. But I know certain things can cause a jump off. How you're treated, how you interact with people, what you're subjected to, what you watch on TV, video games, all those things will affect you down the road if you allow it. So perhaps a little bit of this and a little bit of that, a little sugar, a little salt, a little pepper, form this heathen, this two-legged monster that's so eager to be exonerated. How fetching is that? As most of you know, classes have resumed at the University of Idaho. Inside Edition is the source for that. Second court hearing is tomorrow. This is a status hearing. I brought you Law and Crime and showed you the video of the cops going to a neighboring house with guys partying and a house that shows a very beautiful Kaylee Gonsalves no longer living. Caucasian white male in the background. He opens the door, comes out, sits on the sofa. You get a two-part view of that interaction with Kaylee. And know that was August 16th, 2022. 2 weeks later, on the 1st of September, Labor Day, the cops are back at their house to issue 2 warnings at night, if I'm not mistaken. So, were these just party kids, loved to party, didn't care about making noise, bothering people? Let's keep it real. This is a deep dive into the minds of everybody that is no longer living and the perpetrator, alleged perpetrator. I showed you this video because I wanted to show you the surroundings of the house, which is very scary to know that it was wooded naturally because of the foliage, and anyone could have been standing there watching gawking. Number 2, you have no curtains up to the glass door. Were there curtains up to the windows in the kitchen? Any type of pull curtains that you would pull in the evening? Windows facing the front of the house. No curtains. One of them, living room, the boy had the window wide open, looking out. Bad, 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 bad. Because if I'm standing around with binoculars or telescope, I can get a bullseye view of you and your car, your tag number, what you're doing in your car, through the windows. You're standing outside, 2nd level, 3rd level. I can watch you, okay? This is very interesting information, everybody. Very, very serious information. What did they seize from his apartment? Content I brought you earlier. Students started back school. Today, it's almost a new day. NBC News brings you confirmation of what he was doing before he was arrested. I may play that a little bit later during the live, but please check out Law and Crime for the video I played during this commentary. I now have Brittany here from North Carolina. What do you think of the video played in this live stream?
Hello.
Hello.
It's very interesting, though, to see the daylight.
Did you get tired of talking to the queen?
No, I don't get tired of talking to you.
Okay.
I feel like they get tired of hearing me be the only one to come up.
Well, hey, I already told them it's a new rule. You cannot be on the panel if you're not chatting in the chat. That's the new rule. There is no more coming up on the panel blindsiding. We're not playing those games anymore.
But yeah, so it was very interesting to see. I mean, that was great camera footage as far as
camera footage. Because that goes to show, if you're going to tell me that this man was stalking them, been to the house 12 times since August, you're showing me that I can walk on different at the back of the house easily while you're just standing out there talking and laughing. He could have been standing there the whole time watching from that parking lot, standing under the trees, and you wouldn't have even known. That's not good. That's not good at all.
well, right. And even, since the crime has happened and you've seen the news crews out there and things like that, there's just random people that are walking. So I think that's pretty typical. So, yeah, I mean, he could have parked his car and just got out and, walked around and, no one would question it. It's definitely strange. The high grass, I mean, I don't know what that's about, but I mean, he could have, gotten out, lurked in the bush. You never know. I can't imagine living in a home with no blinds or curtains. Let me say that. I think that's strange.
Thank you, Stacy, for the donation. It's sickening because this is why you have to pay attention to your surroundings. You have to pay attention. All that woodedness, because what I wanted to know is, could you drive up that side of the house where the slider was? Because I'm thinking of the DoorDash guy, and would the kids use this a way to go in and out? It was too wooded. As a girl, I wouldn't want to be walking through there in my high heels or my sandals and get bit by a snake. Or you understand what I'm saying? So now I have to ask, were they always going downstairs through the front door from the third floor and second floor? Because that was wooded. That's just, why was the grass cut? It's very strange.
Right. And, seeing it in the winter, I would have definitely thought, people could have parked kind of up on that hill part and walked down. But now seeing it that way, I would think.
Yeah, they didn't even cut the grass. So we now know with the tree stump there that was cut, a tree was once there, which would have been another way for somebody just to try to, they cut the tree down. People in the other yard could look through it. That's surrounded by that big old fence. But we now know that those people aren't involved, allegedly. I thought it was going to be a neighbor that did it because of them having these noise complaints when they started releasing these cam videos. But now we've got this nut that's from the East Coast that just came to Pullman, Washington. We now have to question, this may not even be what you're thinking. This may just be old-fashioned stalking. I saw you at the Piggly Wiggly. I rode through and had a bullseye view. I saw you going in, getting in your car. See what I'm saying? Because you have to think, in the old days, that is how stalkers found people. It's from coveting, what they saw every day. There was no social media. There was no IG, Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have just rode to Moscow because it wasn't in his demographic. And he drove there deliberately looking for somebody. He could have rode around, came up on the street, just driving by, caught a cutie walking by. Ooh, she's pretty. Ooh, there's another one. See where I'm going?
And a part of me is starting to feel like it's something as simple as that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be all this elaborate. He saw him on social media. Doesn't even have to be that way. Could have been he was driving deliberately out of his area to look for a victim that wasn't in Pullman. That makes a lot of sense. I'm just going to ride around, see what I can see. So Moscow had maybe a little bit going on. They got a few bars, cafes, another school. I also told you that you can travel from one school to the other by rideshare shuttle. So you have to pay attention to all those things, to how he came to Moscow. Doesn't have to be social media. He could have got on the shuttle van and rode through. Because what did I tell you about the shuttle van? That thing's only going to run up until probably early evening. So he could have got on the van and rode over. But now we hear he drove his car foolishly. See, he's a nut. He's a nut.
And another thing I was wondering, I can't remember exactly how it was mentioned in the affidavit, but it says something to the effect about his phone number.
Yeah, that's tracking him to the house those times, the pings. That's what that number. That's why they're showing that number. That's to verify it belonged to him when the account was open, which was in Pennsylvania. It got open in June in Pennsylvania. It goes back to Albright's, Pennsylvania. So he opened that account before he left.
Which is kind of odd as well. I mean, because I would assume.
No, it's not, because you don't know who he was dealing with. Could have had phone issues, could have broke a phone, needed a new phone, could have got on a family's plan. See, we don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
You be getting all suspicious on basic stuff.
Well, I mean, I just
people change phones and carriers a lot.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, I just have to.
The thing is, for you to be suspicious about the phone, you got to now try to figure out then why and what he was doing in Pennsylvania, to say, oh, he was doing something, so he changed his number. Even if you kill somebody in Pennsylvania, that don't have nothing to do with you changing your phone number. Especially
if you have a different phone and you no longer have it, you're with a different carrier, you couldn't be tracked, is the only thing I was saying. For somebody like him, yeah, I would think it would make sense. I mean, but no.
But you're stupid enough to take your fucking car, so changing the number don't make no damn sense.
Yeah, the taking the car is mind blowing.
You think his habits changed from Pennsylvania to Washington? You think he would have been more clever to not take your car to the scene? He was better off walking up there.
He truly would have been. I mean, I guess there's still the chance.
If he's in good shape, he could have parked his car a mile or two away and walked up there, found his target, and walked. Could have paid somebody. Hey, let's just ride around. I want to see the sights. I'm not from here. Let's go over to this Moscow place. Let's see what it's like. He doesn't have to tell a person he found the target, that he's stalking somebody. He could just say, hey, let's ride up this street.
Or got an Uber to drop him off.
That too, but I'm just saying, because the guy that killed the black guy that killed the white lady down in Florida, he took an Uber to her house the night he killed her, the handyman.
He's definitely not as smart as he thinks he is. For
sure. He's smart. That's what I'm saying. If he was back in Pennsylvania, he would have been just that stupid. Because you're stupid to take a car to kill or rape somebody. That is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's why rapists usually rape on foot. They don't use their car.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I really thought in the beginning of this case, like with all the housing around there, with the apartments, the houses, I'm thinking there's no way somebody drove a car. I really thought it was going to be.
Yeah, one night he was there, BB fan. It was for an hour. That was nighttime. The other times he was there during the day. So this may go to the fact of what the student was saying about him coming in there disheveled, tired looking, because he was spending all his time watching these kids. This is what don't make no sense. How is it you don't know somebody's out there watching your house?
Well, I honestly feel like it would be easy for them not to realize, with it being during the daytime, with the amount of people that are around and moving around in that area. It makes me wonder if
that means you'd have to have been getting out and standing in the woods at least, because you can't see anything sitting in your car. You can't. You'd have to have binoculars if you sat in your car.
Right. So
you gotta remember, there would have been trees. There would have been leaves on the trees. You can't see through the trees sitting in a car. You got to be out, standing close where you can get a view of who's coming, going, which room I'm trying to see, which one of the girls stay in. You're going to have to get out of the car one way or the other.
Which is strange to be during the day to me. As much as I say there's a lot of people moving and walking around, I still
And
wouldn't
then the
think
people in the apartment. Let's talk about that. You mean to tell me all these people coming and going? Let's say he parked up in that parking lot. You don't notice this white car sitting here. Come on now. Come on now.
I find it strange that he only came once at night too. I would feel like that he would want to know their like nightly pattern better than that, you know. But
Who's to
I
say?
don't know.
Maybe his plan was maybe to eventually do it during the day. That would be stupid. But that would, to me, stupid at night, considering these kids have people coming in their house.
Right.
This is not like he went to a house where one person lived alone. That's what's odd about the story. You picked a house with a bunch of women. So it's like he said to himself, I know I can overtake all these girls. And you see here in the middle of the day in August, she had men at her house. So that's the baffling part of this story.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he assume there wouldn't be any guys there at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning?
Right. I mean, because like I said, originally I would have also thought that he watched them come in that night. And then now we know that's not the case. So
say what? Say it again.
I said originally I would have thought that night he watched them come in. So he knew, you know, when they were home. But now we know he didn't do that. He was still at home. And it's very strange.
He left at 2:47. So he would have got there probably right at 3 or a little bit after 3. But something kept him from going on. And we do believe that all the participants were in the house. So what kept him from going in? Because that's a long time to sit outside and wait. Maybe he's trying to build up courage. Maybe it's because he saw the police down the street fooling with those other kids. He got spooked. But still, it's dangerous to just keep sitting around and thinking somebody wouldn't come out and be looking at you like, hey, why are you sitting here? Because there are people who do pay attention. These kids were oblivious to stuff. But there's other people not like that.
And you would think during the day when he was coming that he would have paid attention to the types of surveillance that was around. Clearly, he did not.
He didn't care. That's just how stupid. He was just overcome with, I'm going to do this. I've got this. And I'm going to walk out of here and I'm not going to be apprehended. But see, this is what happens when you have a foolish mind. You're only thinking of self. So he's not thinking of being caught. His stupid mind is telling him he's invincible. You're God. You're going to get this. You're going to go in, kill these kids and come on out. But he was seen because he was stupid enough to take his damn car. Then you're carrying your phone the times you're watching the house. But then the night you commit the crime, you don't take the phone or you turn the phone off. Either one. Take your pick. I think he had the phone with him all the time. I refuse to believe he left that phone 15 minutes away. That'd be a dumb idea because you can get stranded.
Yeah, I think he just turned it off. And then you're dumb enough to leave your knife sheath. Yeah. I just, you know, a lot of people I've heard say, you know, I don't think he did it. I don't know how he's going to explain the combination of things. I can't see it happening.
Well, he will. That's why he's going to court. He's still thinking like he did when he planned the murders. I'm going to beat this. I know they have evidence against me, but I'm going to beat this. See, that's what happens when your mind's gone. You see there's evidence, but yet you still believe you're going to walk out of this jail.
Well, he
will, and if he's found guilty, let me tell you, it will be the same mindset. I'm going to exhaust every appeal, milk the state for all their money, taxpayers, make them go broke, funneling me to go stand before the court and rehearse this shit all over again. You didn't hear the commentary about the holes in the case. What holes did this lawyer thought they have?
Oh, well, what they say, the direct pings. I'm not sure. And that
you got to ping off of something. And due to the fact that he came from another state, they probably can narrow that down. That what are the odds? See what I'm saying?
That's what I was going to say. Just that they may be saying that due to the lack of information that we currently have, stuff that'll be coming out. But you can definitely narrow it down.
It might not be an exact. It might be like they said, you turn off your phone, You cut it back on, it pings from the last place you were until your phone registers at the location you're at. But it ain't gonna do that no fucking 12 times from August to November in a town that you don't know nobody. Stay woke.
Right. And then, if they're not able to get, very accurate, then there'll have to be an explanation for why he was in that area. If there was a certain food place that he says he liked to eat that area, okay, they'll need to pull, bank records to
But the
show.
point is, the ping is probably more direct.
Oh, I'm sure it is. It's probably
saying
right.
1122, not McDonald's or
Right.
Mount Road. The ping is being more close to 1122. How are you going to explain that? Because it's not like at the corner of the road there's a McDonald's or a Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, I don't know how he's going to explain that. I mean, I think that he can, unless there's a friend that we don't know about in the area, and then that's still not going to be possible. Obviously.
Well, he has a mindset, I'm going to beat this. That's why he's going to court. That's why he wants to go to trial. He has to revel in this because this is his doing. He knows he fucked up, but his mind is telling him, you're going to beat this. Or it might be telling them, hey, you fucked up. Just ride the ride all the way out. You don't got nothing better to do. You're not getting out here anyway, so just ride it on out. Waste these people's money, taxpayers' money for this bullshit. That's the sad part, is that he's keeping these people from mourning and moving on. It'd be easy right now. He just say he killed the kids.
Yep, you're exactly right.
Give a motive, give a full interview to how he came to know the kids, why he chose them. Everybody can move on. But no, he's got to do like all the other killers. He's got to play these fucking mind games with the system and go round and round with appeals and this. And then finally he'll do just like all the other serial killers. He'll break down and finally say, yeah, I did it. This is why.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because think about how heartbreaking.
Then mommy and daddy will decide to pen a book of how they raised him and what went wrong. And everybody will have a book deal in about 3 years. Oh, it should be very interesting. And if I was the family, I'm going to sue everybody that come out with a book, because that's what a lot of people do. They'll sue them and say, you're not making no money off my baby's name.
You got that right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at this point, that would be the best thing for him. But yeah, like you just said, there's no.
He doesn't have anything better to do. He knows he'll die in there. And he'll probably die before natural death. So I've got to enjoy this ride while I can ride it. They're not going to let me out of here. I'll tell you something else I don't want to hear anything about is change of venue. There's not nowhere in the state of Idaho that ain't nobody heard about this case.
Nope.
Because these are old country folks. Most of these people live in Idaho. They still listen to the newspaper, read papers, and the eyewitness news. They know all about this damn case.
Yep, and just like they were saying, comparing it to the Casey Anthony, they were able to find it. Believe it or not, there are some that don't pay attention to the news and things like that. And
a lot of people don't watch the news, but I can bet you in this part of the country, they do watch the news. Because you already know this is probably not a very big state. You understand what I'm saying? These are regular people. They're not partying and into all this social media shit. The country folks.
Well, right, and they said they hadn't had a murder in their area. I forget how long it was, but it had been quite a while.
7.
Mm-hmm. He's a sick man. I'm interested to see what his plea is. But a part of me just feels like it will, of course, be not guilty.
Mm-hmm. Do you think he was there when the police came those 2 times for the citations and warnings? The warnings, rather.
I think it's possible. I think that, just like you had said earlier, I think it's possible he may have been the one to call.
Mm-hmm. Because I know one of those calls I heard somewhere, the person was describing her out there with a guy. So that had to be
interesting.
That had to be somebody in close proximity to viewing the back patio, because she's not in the front. They're not in the front. When they went the time in September, the kids weren't in the front except for leaving out So you had to know Kaylee or whomever was in the back with the guy. What is funny is when you watch this footage, she comes out after the guy. The guy comes out first. So whoever called knew she was back there with the guy. And what's scary is this. When they come out, they were inside, not outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see him doing something like that. You know, and possibly following her on
He could have
social
rode
media.
around the whole street, seen anybody gathering and called the police because he doesn't have the life that he so craved.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fuck these kids. They're out here having a good time. I'm sitting here beating my head against a rock trying to get this PhD. I'm a psychopath. Nobody likes me. Nobody loves me. Don't have a girlfriend. Don't have sex. And I'm sure he watched a lot of porn. Let's talk about that.
I honestly think that, you know, whether regardless of if there was anything, you know, there was no sexual assault or anything like that, they've said with this, but a part of me has always felt like, you know, all serial killers that somehow sexually
well, porn
related.
is part of a sadist upbringing. They participate in peeping, gawking, porn, snuff porn, violent porn, strangulation, domination. And a guy who's not getting any sex is most definitely watching porn somewhere or picking up street women, street workers. And I won't doubt that he got off while killing them. Because I think back to Sam Little. This guy had interviewed him in the jail, prison or whatever. And he said that when he was talking to Sam about strangling the women and what led him to be attracted to the woman's throat, blah, 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 he noticed his legs started to twitch under the table. So naturally, where this is going is the obvious. Sam Little's leg is shaking because he's getting turned on. And I know somebody who used to do that because I caught them doing it one day when we were out at a bar. And I told the person, I said, what are you doing? Because his leg kept swinging, open, close, open, close. That's what Sam was doing. And he became erect, talking about strangling the women and his attraction to the throat. And I thought of this person I know who was watching the women walk by, blah, blah, blah. And he was doing the same thing with his leg, open, close, open, close. And I looked at him and I said, damn, are you getting turned on right here? What the fuck? That shit's scary. It's like, that means you don't have any impulse control, that you are visibly being turned on in a public place. That's fucked up. That leads me to believe you possibly have a very high sex drive. That you are now looking and gaping at people in front of you, getting turned on by them, and now your body is reacting to what you are desiring. Is that you beeping?
It's my coffee pot.
Oh, I thought it was something up in here because I was getting ready to run the hell up out of here. What the hell? Don't start that shit. I'm already getting spooked talking about this nonsense. Oh, I can't fool with you.
Sorry.
Listen,
yeah, that's sick. I can't imagine. Now
I think anybody knows, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I think anybody that walks by these windows and doors, they hear me in here hollering, talking on these lives, they already know she's too crazy to fucking try to push the door up in there. She's up all times of day and night. We'll pass that address.
Well, and just what you just said, that's something I think about a lot. You know, with him going at 4:00, I guess the majority of the world is asleep. I don't know, but you don't really know someone's schedule. And I mean, I don't even have a set schedule, to be honest.
Yeah, because my thing is, you can break into a person's house however you choose, because I'm not in your mind, and if I ain't in that mode, then I can't say. But if he went there during the day, did he ever breach the door, go in? We know that too many people lived in the house, and we didn't see anybody come out that day when Kaylee came out, but there were cars in the drive, so that means girls were there. Allegedly, because their cars were in the drive. They just only showed the guy coming out and Kaylee coming out. The other girls were possibly in the living room or in their own room. So I'm wondering if he has been up in that house, tried to come in that house or made in that house while hell they were there. They didn't know it. I think that would be even more risky. I don't really think he was in that house at any time during the day because obviously these kids had foot traffic. That would have been too risque, and he would have had a good chance of being beat to sleep.
It's possible he's been in there when they were home. I mean, there was a murder in my town, and he did murder the family that lives in the house, but in court, he admitted to being in that house many a times while they were asleep.
Yeah, but I'm talking about during the day while the kids are up.
Yeah, I don't know about while they were.
That's too risky. That's too risky to me.
I would think that, that would be if he's just trying to check it out.
Kids walking around during the day, because what are you going to do once somebody come around the corner and be like, "Hey, who are you?" What are you going to do then? Especially if you didn't bring a weapon and didn't plan on getting caught being in the house.
Yeah, I would think it'd be too risky to go in during the day. But I mean, that's one thing we keep saying is, how did he know he could get in? I mean, I can't help but think that because you've never been in this house.
So So that's why I have a problem. So on the night that he went, did he take breaking tools? Because how did you know you were going to be able to successfully enter the house?
Well, and if he knew that, there was that slide-in door, maybe he had studied how to break into that, possibly. So he had those tools with him, because I mean, it's hard to say how he definitely knew he was going to.
So which way did he go in? Front of the house or the back? Because in order to go to the front drive, you had to walk by the house that has the doorbell camera.
Mm-hmm. I feel like he went in the back.
Okay. Parking lot, went up there and parked at the parking lot and then walked down and slid down the hill.
That would be
because that's where Bryan and all the reporters walk up and stand there. I mean, it's a bullseye view. You just walk, park the car, and stand.
Yeah, and if the grass isn't high, that's the ideal place, especially if you had binoculars.
See, it was high on the property at that time. The trees were in full bloom in August. And even in the daytime, you could still have walked, put it off like you lost something. I don't know. This is all strange to me. Anybody would still risk even doing it, even in the daytime, to stand out there and gawk without thinking somebody could be looking out their window at the apartments. What makes you think those people aren't looking? See, that's what bothers me about this case.
Right, and that one guy.
And you're thinking that nobody's watching you to see, why is this guy standing here looking down at this house? Because anybody could see him. If you came out the apartment, you would look and see, why is that guy standing there?
Right, and remember the guy that spoke about when he would walk his dog? He was like, oh yeah, I could see him through the window and all that, and he was just obviously not the killer, just a normal guy walking his dog, but he would say that was in his view as he walked up the hill was their house with no blinds. He could see right in there, and he, admitted. I mean, there was probably quite a few people that may have watched. To be honest, they may have not all been killers.
I wonder if there are blinds on the glass door. You know how most glass doors have blinds to the side. You have the twist thing, and you turn them, and you have blinds.
Like the little slit type. Yeah.
Venetian, or whatever you call them, floor blinds. Did they have them or not? They were pulled to the side, or there were no blinds, just an open ass piece of glass. There is no way I'm going to have an open piece of glass with no blinds.
I don't see any blinds in that whole house.
Yeah, because when you look at Xana's curtains, you can see there were no blinds, just red curtains, or whoever's on the bottom. I mean, the bottom floor. But that was
this is strange, especially
or whatever. You can see straight through the curtains. That's just strange to me,
especially with a house full of girls. I mean, you would think, an
apartment should come with blinds anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Every apartment should have blinds. Every glass door should have blinds.
You would think so, and definitely with an apartment full of girls. You've got a dad coming to change a lock.
I had a glass door in an apartment. I was in a skybox once, and that glass door leading to my balcony had blinds attached.
Mm-hmm. Mine did
and I've had the last apartment had the door that opened out that had blinds on it. So this is bullshit. Somebody says maybe somebody did notice him but didn't say anything. Well, could be.
Well, and as much as I say, there's people walking around and he could just blend in, he doesn't. I mean, he looks older for sure. He doesn't typically look like a college student either,
And
which
that's
is
why I know he wasn't hanging with those kids.
right. But also I think I've seen a couple interview that said they had kids that lived in the apartments on the news when it first happened. So obviously there were, a mix living in that area. I don't know. Yeah, because he doesn't seem. He doesn't.
Say that again.
I said I had seen a couple that had mentioned they had kids interview in the beginning when this happened. I think they said they lived in the apartments. So I guess there's other people other than college students that live around there.
Well, yeah, you live where you can. It's a small town, so it's going to be mixed with regular people, people that's got regular jobs, and that's probably who's doing all the complaining. People who are not college students, but you still be a college student. Just don't be a part of that party crowd and want to study or just want peace and quiet that day.
Right. I mean, and really, he doesn't seem like the type. No matter where he is, he would really blend in either. He seems awkward.
Well, I just think of him sitting there with that attorney, a blonde-haired lady. He obviously has an issue with blondes. It's just it's interesting. And the girl who's the Tinder date, she once was a blonde. They show her older photo. She was blonde and smaller. So I think he's like Bundy. He has a type. He likes blonde-haired girls, women. Now he's sitting beside a blonde-haired defense attorney.
I haven't thought about that. Yeah, that's
interesting. You're good to sit next or across from him because I'd be scared to sit in the same room with him alone, especially as y'all love to say, without any handcuffs on.
Yeah, he did not have handcuffs on. And like I was mentioning earlier too, how that Kaylee's dad was saying that he looked defeated and all that stuff in the courtroom. I did not get that feeling from him at all. But maybe there was something that he saw that I didn't see.
I mean,
but
everybody's perception is different. I don't think he was feeling the best because, like I said, that right jaw was twitching. He was feeling something. He was feeling some type of angst and anxiety while sitting there.
Yeah, I often wondered if that was him coming off some sort of stimulant.
Well, maybe he's a user, and maybe they'll find that in his apartment. Maybe they have found that already. Drug paraphernalia. Maybe he's still getting high on drugs.
Yeah, I mean, it could even be like a prescription drug. It could be, something like Adderall that he's prescribed, but that's still a stimulant, and that will cause him to clench his jaws and grind his teeth and things like that.
Well, I wonder if he is taking anything for ADHD or anything.
That would be I could see that for sure. And that can, affect people's moods and things like that. For sure.
What a hot mess.
And that would explain a lot of the non-sleeping and stuff like that as well.
Did he know the girls or Kaylee or any of the young ladies?
I don't know. I mean, a part of God, I don't know. I mean, I don't.
My thing is, don't nobody know anything because everybody thought it was their friends, remember? People swore up and down it was a Jack and a this and an X and a this. It wasn't none of those people. People thought it was somebody young. Wasn't young. So that means it don't even have to be, as I said, he found them on social media.
Sure.
If I can make it in time, angry, yes, I will. If not, I'll bring you the content afterwards. I don't think it's going to be anything major. It's just a status hearing.
What time is that tomorrow?
11 o'clock our time. Eastern.
Okay.
They make sure to get him up early.
Andrew says he was.
Gotta get out the bed, young man. Get him up at 6. Get him his breakfast. His broccoli
applesauce
casserole. Where the hell they gonna feed him? Jesus wept. Brussels sprouts shake.
I wonder, and that's interesting. I wonder if he's been You know, he said, I don't think he's been a vegan all his life. And one of those
He could have
random,
been vegan all his life because he was a little porker.
you know, but I know a lot of vegetarians and vegans that
He
aren't
was
very
a
slender.
porker. You know damn
She's
well
a
he was no
porker.
damn vegan. That big ass boy wasn't eating no damn vegetables. That big boy was eating a whole lot of green eggs and ham. And chocolate rolls and Little Debbie snack cakes. He was a porker.
Yeah, he did definitely lose a lot of weight. And, you know, that probably goes with the attitude he developed. You know, he assumed
It made it worse.
yeah, and he assumed once he lost this weight that he would be more
Got a new
appealing.
attitude. He probably got a worse attitude once he lost the weight. He thought he probably was going to do well with the ladies and attract ladies, but it didn't work out as he thought. I'm smaller now. What's the problem? Why aren't they looking at me? Why aren't they talking to me? Well, I'm sure he loved honey buns too, Mimi, at one time. I'm sure after he killed those kids, he probably went and bought up a box of honey buns. I'm serious.
Ugh.
You want me to believe he went and ordered him a broccoli shake?
I would think he would need to throw up after all that.
Grow up?
Yeah, throw up. Ugh.
Oh, throw up. Well, some people have thrown up after murdering people. Some people have urinated, defecated, thrown up.
I think that there's
that would be very
possible
interesting to know if he passed any type of fluids while killing the kids or afterwards. Because if he threw up, he's done. How you going to clean that up?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think he'd be able to.
You know, because you may think, oh, I want to kill these people, but you don't really know how your body's going to react after murdering somebody. That would be very interesting that he threw up after killing the kids.
Right, Andrea. That's what I was thinking, that once he lost that weight, that he thought that he would be more accepted. And then once he wasn't. But, you know, if like they had the documentation at the one bar in Pennsylvania, if he was calling people bitches and things like, who does that?
Who said he called somebody a bitch?
Isn't that one of the things that was noted in the
I don't know. I just thought they were saying something about his commentary. I can't remember.
Yeah, I feel like that was one thing that was listed, which I think that's so
I
odd.
think he called somebody a bitch probably because she wasn't interested.
Yeah, but I know a lot. I mean, yeah.
Let me tell you something. That's a common word men use when a woman does not adhere to the advances. Okay, bitch, you're a bitch.
That is the most. I hate that word.
Yeah, I hear it all the time. Trust me. Queen's been a bitch too. Okay, because she didn't want to conversate. That's a typical word used when a woman does not want to hear what you're talking about. Fuck you, bitch.
But I feel like, you know, it takes. I don't know. I want to go back. I don't want to put it on.
It shows you that you're sick. That you can just call somebody that name because they don't want to conversate. They're not interested. They don't want to give their number. I don't have to. Nobody has to give you their phone number. Nobody has to sit there and listen to you slobber in their face. Because you are out trying to pick up somebody. That's you. But you can't get mad at somebody because they don't want to succeed. You know what I'm saying? It's sickening. And that lets you know how sick people are. Get an attitude. Then you resort to name calling because you can't get what you want. What it is that I say thank you. I worked on being one for a long time. Very funny. But naturally, you know, you return back a nasty comment that's going to incite the sicko even more.
Yeah, it really makes me, like I said, I hate to put things back on his parents, but it makes me question.
Fuck you, you creep. And then next thing you know, he's ready to sit there and twist your head off.
Yeah. I'd be interested to know his relationship with his mother.
It's probably not good.
I can only believe it's not.
Yeah, you can't call if you can call a woman a bitch because she doesn't want to talk to you. I know you don't have a good relationship with your mother.
Yeah, okay, that's my point. Yeah,
you would think to call a woman a bitch because she's
Right. That's kind of what I was getting at. Like, I feel like that
off your tongue, you bitch, you this.
Right. For it just, to so freely flow as if that's, especially in a public place. Are you kidding me? That's
But then,
crazy.
like they said, when they approached him, he acted like he didn't know what he had done and denied. I haven't done anything. Yeah, he's sick.
I'm sure he did.
So imagine what he's doing when he's by himself. He's walking around talking to himself, panting and moaning and grunting.
I can definitely, I can definitely see him being one of those that, has conversations with himself.
Yeah, he's coming home, slamming doors and shit, going off like there's somebody in the house talking to him. He's mumbling under his breath when he's out in public, in his car driving. He's saying stuff to himself.
And what's insane, he was cleaning his car that night with the gloves and things on at his parents' house.
I think he was mumbling something to himself when he's walking in that damn court in Pennsylvania. Especially with, there are people out there yelling at him and things like that. And I'm going to say this to the viewing audience. Thank you for joining me. I have a feminine vibe on Kohberger. Something about him walking out of the court in Pennsylvania in that courthouse. I see a feminine vibe in the photographs taken. It's something womanly about this creature. Could it be he is a closet homosexual, bisexual? Maybe I'm fishing, maybe not.
Yeah, there's something a little feminine about him, I would say.
She said she hear garbage disposal all night. It's probably chopping up all them damn vegetables. He's having a vegetable salad, vegetable shake. Yes, every man that I've ever known who speaks to women with no respect or regarding did not have self-esteem for his mom. Exactly. I can say that personally about somebody I know. They have mommy issues. So it was easy to spin those nasty words off their tongue. Never heard it at first from the person. And then one day, just out of the blue, spun it off their tongue. And it was like, wow, that's coming from you? You never called a woman out her name, and now all of a sudden you're using derogatory language to describe a woman. That's bad.
Yeah, I've been with both kinds, I guess I could say. But
I talk to myself in my house. I talk to myself in my car. I talk to myself when I want to. So long as I don't fucking answer, I'm good. I can look at the price of something and be like, what? $18.99 for that? I do it all the time. Not dare somebody say something.
Yeah, or his sisters too. That's a good point.
Yeah, he probably really hated them. They're both professionals. I believe that's why he went into that field, because don't you find it strange? All three children are in the same field. Do the math. Always pay attention to the family dynamic. Monkey see, monkey do. Oh, they favor them. Oh, they like them more. Oh, let me go do what they're doing.
I find it really scary that he had applied to work for the police department.
Well, then you're missing the whole boat then if you find that strange.
I mean, like, did you want to investigate your own murder?
No, the point is that is one of the signs of sadists and narcissists is to be in control. Most sadists want to be in law enforcement. Everybody knows that, Brittany.
But that's so scary.
If you check out any serial killer, sadist, he tried to join the military and applied for the police department. That is expected. Because what is the one thing they're lacking? Control.
Yeah.
Validation. He probably feel like most people, you're more revered if you're in law enforcement. Because you're going to be in command. People are going to take notice. They're going to listen to you. So that did not shock me that he was doing security at the school. That was expected. When you've seen this with most mass murderers. They did security work. What about Trezell in the West case? What was he doing?
He did security too, didn't he?
Exactly.
Oh. Yeah, and you can kind of see that with the students talking about, the way he graded the papers and things like that.
He's stoic. He's in there like a robot, not showing any emotion, not speaking, not laughing, not sharing a joke, not saying hello. He was gone. 28 years old, you acting like that, he's been gone.
And 28
So that's why,
is young.
he had two faces. 1 minute he's laughing and joking after he's killed the kids, and then when he's in the classroom, he's walking around like a damn robot. He's a chameleon. You don't even know who you're getting today. And somebody like that, I'd be afraid to be alone with.
Definitely, yeah.
Because you don't know who you're going to get.
I mean, especially, the people, speaking of being his neighbors, that would have
It
terrified
wouldn't take
me.
much to piss him off either.
I want to know. I can't wait to see what the information about what was in his house,
Yeah. Well, all his sisters are in the counseling field, so that should tell you something. He was mimicking them. I'm telling you, those are the two that got more attention growing up. He followed suit. Well, I'll do what they're doing. Then they'll notice me. I bet you. Could be wrong, but I got a feeling the sisters got more attention growing up.
Probably, yeah. And with, them doing so well earlier in life with the one sister being in the movie.
So now we got to ask ourselves what happened with the security job at the school. Did he overstep his bounds? Because if you're quick to get angry with a woman, you were probably doing stuff inappropriate on the job. Who's to say he wasn't trying to flirt with the staff members, make advances to any of the people? He could have been trying to make advances at the students. Who knows?
Right. And then think of if he would have gotten the job as the police officer, the type of data and information that he could have possibly had access to.
That's why he was going to he wanted to intern. He's trying to do whatever he could
Mm-hmm.
to advance his stalking and killing mode. I honestly believe that's the only reason why he moved to Washington. He just wants to want to be out the general jurisdiction of the East Coast.
Right.
But he's still caught and still found out. So it really wouldn't have mattered. If he got caught in Washington, he would have gotten caught in Pennsylvania, New York, wherever he went.
Yeah, the kids in his class are lucky they weren't targeted. And it's scary to think that so many were.
They could have been. We don't know what's in that apartment.
Right. It's there, a manifesto list of people that.
I won't be surprised if you go in the apartment and there was a list of people he didn't like, had a checklist by their name, check mark. Could have had a check mark on the professor's name. Could have had other people as targets written down.
Neighbors that annoyed him or anything.
So what was he doing late night with the drilling noise?
Now that we say the drilling noise, and then someone had mentioned something about I wonder if that was the what do you call it? What someone just said it in chat a second ago. The garbage disposal. Could that have been what they were maybe hearing?
I don't know.
Either way, that's odd. Especially for it to happen so frequently that they can recall.
Somebody said throwing darts at the pigs. Oh, Jesus, that's not good. Could be. So what, under a kill? What are you saying?
A kill list, yeah.
Oh, kill list, yeah. Well, and that's probably what he has had in there. There's probably all types of goodies. As somebody said the other day, I bet you his apartment was a treasure trove. His computer. All his searches. I'm sure he's pulled up thousands of images of porn.
And
what you found in there. Hell, you might even found some damn dildos in the drawer.
Oh, goodness. Ugh.
Oh, you died. He'd die if that ever got out in court. Think about that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he would. I do suspect that a lot of the things that they will find on his computer, that they will be able to explain that or try to explain that by, the things that he was studying in school. Like if he was Googling serial killers and doing research, and okay, well, he was studying the criminal mind.
He was doing that anyway, so that's not really no big deal. He does that for his coursework, how they think, what they felt. So the point is, why did he go into psychology in psychology in general?
She's in a blow up doll. I could
see that as well.
Yeah, I could see that, and that's sick to say, but I can.
I could see a Ken version laying around on the bed.
She said a Ken version, not a Stacy.
No Stacy.
But it's Stacy and Chad. So
I could see a Ken with a wig. I won't doubt that he dressed up. He could have dressed up in women's clothes. I'm going way out there now.
Someone said 1,000 way to chop vegetables.
All right, you guys. I won't. He could have been buying pantyhose, heels, dressing up in women's underwear, panties. You've learned that with men who say they were straight, like wearing women's panties. I like the way they feel. Well, why don't you touch somebody in the panties? How about that? Why do you need to put them on?
Well, that's just.
I really don't want to see anybody wearing my big drawers. But hey, whatever floats your damn boat.
Well, that's just it.
My grandma went big drawers.
You're so crazy. Well, and then the comment that the Tinder girl said that he made that she had childbearing hips.
Boy, it could have been a black grandmama coming there and see him in them damn drawers. Boy, if you don't take my damn panties off, shit, I'm dead. He would have got whooped to sleep. Could you see that big black grandmama coming in a room and see this damn skinny ass boy got her damn drawers on? Got to put a safety pin in him. Shut up, Angela.
Yeah, no. But whoever said the blow up doll, for some reason, that really makes, I could really see that. That's sick, but.
Yeah, would not doubt it. There's probably a whole lot of porn, a whole lot of fetishes, probably whips, chains. You just don't know people. You don't know what people are into. It's just like when I was watching the A&E the other night, and it might have been last night, and the wife was murdered by the husband, and she had told the judge when she was trying to get the divorce from her husband that he was into a lot of kinky sex, and then he denied that. You can see him in a white jumpsuit. He was already in prison. And he said, that's just lies. I ain't never been into that. I don't know why my wife would tell the judge that. No, you didn't want the judge and the court and the public to know that you like boo-booing. You wanted your wife to boo-boo or pee on you. So once that public information got out, hell yeah, you were embarrassed. Hell yeah, you didn't have no choice but to deny. Who the hell wants people to know they want somebody to defecate on them during sex? Come on. And how do you wake up one day saying you want somebody to boo-boo on you or pee on you? I know a lot of people in the stuff. See, R. Kelly was into that, allegedly, peeing and defecating. So therefore, here you are, this handsome guy, ladies' man, loves to have sex with women, sleep around, wanted you and your wife to have open relationships. Why would she want you? She wanted just you. She didn't want to be with somebody that's out here sleeping with different women and all that, and then you're telling her, oh, go get you a man, we'll be all right. My thing is, once you decide that you want an open relationship, then just leave. You go do you, I'll go do me. There's not going to be none of that. You go sleep with Susie, I go sleep with Dick, and then we go meet back up and pretend everything's great and raise children. But
yeah, no.
I know somebody told me that mess a couple months ago. This dizzy ass broad talking about she wanted an open relationship with this woman, and I thought to myself, you have got to be the stupidest woman breathing. How are you going to raise grandchildren and then be walking around talking about this guy over here who's your baby daddy, and then your kid's going to look up and see you hugging on a woman and the guy, or all y'all kissing each other in the kitchen over eggs and bacon? Give me a break.
She said over eggs and bacon. Yeah, no, I do believe that there are truly a lot of people that find that okay. I mean, that's not my cup of tea.
I know somebody who wants open relationships. He likes women 2-on-2. He likes sex with 2 women. And I told him, what's the point? I said, that's how shit jumps off. Because it's going to start 2 women having sex with the man, or vice versa, however it goes, 2 on whatever the number is going to be. The point is, it's not going to work. Somebody's going to get tired, because they always do. That's the reason why you don't invite a third party to your bedroom, because somebody's going to start getting more without the other, because that's what you're doing. You're telling the other person, I desire sex with another person, whether they're in the bed with them or not. At some point, you one of you is going to be a third wheel. They're going to be meeting somebody else without you. That is the start of giving someone permission to have affairs. That's just common sense.
Right. I don't see that ever going down very well. I mean, I do think
Hell,
that's
I
a
want to
lot
sit here
of.
and watch you screwing a woman, even if I got turned on. I mean, because you can watch porn and get turned on naturally, but when you start bringing that into your bedroom, that you're going to start having extra partners in the bedroom, it is a recipe for disaster.
Oh yes, I
Somebody's
definitely think so.
going to get left out, just like that sister wife shit. Everybody got their separate rooms. The women don't sleep with each other, but you're trading off the man on different nights. You think I'm going to walk around my house and watch you kissing on another woman, hugging on her? You going in her bedroom on Thursday night, and then you're sliding in my room on Saturday night? I will burn this bitch down. I am not participating.
No, that's not even
Not
possible.
sitting here waiting on my turn, and then
Waiting on your day,
slobbering on this bitch, and then you're slobbering on the other one down the hall, and I'm going to sit around here and wait.
and not to mention the types of diseases that.
That's why I don't even understand that sister wife stuff, because I'm looking at these women like you have to be very insecure to willingly sign up to go in a house, pay bills in a house with a man going from room to room like he's in a dorm.
That's
what he's doing. He's just going room to room, having sex with different women, and everybody's playing house. And every time you look up, one of these stupid women is pregnant, and then you're watching another bitch rub her belly, talking about, "Oh, my tummy hurts, I'm nauseous," and all that. I wouldn't play those type of mind games for nothing in the world. Now, there are people that get down with the open relationships and all that. That is your business. But when the shit jumps off, you don't have the right to go complain to anybody about that type of mess. I don't believe in indulging in that foolishness. That's foolishness to me.
Right. And I think that, even the people that think, oh, we'll just do this one time thing. And
no such thing. You're giving permission. Listen, you're giving permission to be betrayed.
Right. No, absolutely right.
Because somebody's going to start liking that. And eventually, hey, why I got to come home? I'm getting it good over here. You already think it's okay for me to sleep around. You let me sleep around. You let me get into bed. I brought both of you two in the bed together. So now, we done went from from Kohberger to this. Lord Jesus, help me.
And bless him, he couldn't even get one.
Well, that's my point. Somebody's going to get jealous because somebody's going to start spending more time with the other party, and it's not going to be in the bed with you. Eventually, it's going to be her calling, "Hey, can you come over? But don't bring your wife."
Right. Mm-hmm. I could see that, definitely.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, no.
Do you think it's possibly he could be homosexual? I don't know why I'm getting that vibe, but I'm just asking because anything's possible when you're dealing with the human mind.
Yeah, I was going to say anything's possible.
Yes, let's get back to the vegetable class. Exactly. Burger 101.
So does he prefer zucchini? Is that your question?
You guys stop that. Oh my God. Now that's nasty.
I don't know. I mean, it's possible.
Yes, I'd like a vegan cucumber shake.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd like to eat more healthier.
I bet you long nose fucker is eating the best hamburger bologna sandwich up and there.
Ugh. Yeah.
Oh my God, Andrea, please, he moist. I
I
don't
want
to know what that means. What does that mean?
I don't know.
What does that mean, Andrea? He moist. Huh? Angry says, ugh. I don't know what that means. I'm old. I'm just waiting on my AARP discounts.
You crazy.
Time for this nonsense. Grits. Okay. Now you all are getting a little ugly now in the chat. No, but seriously, you don't know him. You don't know if he has fetishes. He could have weird fetishes. Because when your mind starts playing tricks on you about, wanting to hurt and harm people and bondage and stuff. It's no telling what he's into.
Oh, he sneaks.
He's soft, he moist. Oh, okay, he's moist. Yeah, that just sounds horrible. He sneaks and eats the meat. God, you all are disgusting. Left out now, no, that's what he's eating. Well, that's what he's going to be eating. Burger will be eating burgers. Literally. Human burgers and hamburgers. Because he's not going to get a choice of what he can eat. And then he might start being attracted to boys. All he needs is one to come in there with blonde hair. Shut up, Angela. Go in there and get him a transgendered with blonde hair. He'd be dead by dusk.
And hot dogs. Now, I could see that being more of his style. Strangely, I don't know why I think that,
What?
but I could see a transgender.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of things going to come out. I'm sure his computer is probably on fire. Literally on fire, his computer. And I'm sure that the FBI, they needed a whole lot of whiskey. Hey, bro, while you out at McDonald's, pick me up a bottle of Jack Daniels. Because you won't believe what I found in this computer. There's no telling what's in that computer. Probably a whole lot of nasty stuff in there. Probably stuff that's showing dead people bodies, crime scene photos. You know, you got to think those people get into that kind of stuff. Because that's why I'm saying, if you never killed a person, how do you know how your body is going to react once you cut up a person? You know, you're cutting a human up. And if you've never done that before, I mean, how do you know how you're going to react once you see the blood? So you'd have to like blood. Because the thought of buying a knife and contemplating in your head, I'm getting ready to go kill somebody. I've picked my target. I bought the knife, or I got this knife. I'm going to use this knife. You have to have some attraction to blood, gore, and a strong stomach. You have to.
Yeah, and you'd have to know that. I mean, for instance,
You're not going to know how you're going to react when you cut somebody up.
No. I mean, my husband cut his finger and he passed out.
Well, I mean, a paper cut will make you want to jump through a plate glass window. So
yeah, and
cutting you the size of the knife. You know those different knives they've been showing on these news programs, and every time I look at one, you know, on the news program, I just want to just pass out my damn self just looking at the knife itself, because it's like, dear God, I can't imagine that going inside of a human being. You know, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're just stabbing a person till there's nothing left of him.
And that,
of course, he's worried about his computer search. He's thinking about all of that.
Do you think
Whatever
they possibly
behind,
cleared?
he's thinking about all that being revealed. His parents hearing the information, his friends, co-workers, the students, the staff. He is sick. Although he's reveling in the fact of trying to defend himself, he knows there's some sick shit in that apartment and on those devices.
I wonder if before he left, you know, to go to Pennsylvania, if he got rid of some things just in case, or, you know, cleared any of the information on his.
He took what to Pennsylvania?
No, I'm saying before he left, if he would have tidied up his apartment as far as, you know, any odd or strange random things, or cleaned off his devices.
Let me see. I'm going to take my dildos and my bondage stuff and put it where? In the storage unit?
Oh, hopefully in the dumpster would be my first thought. But I mean, I don't know.
Well, who wants to throw away a good vibrator, Brittany?
Oh God, I don't know.
Or a good butterfly, or whatever they call it, cocoons, or whatever you use for sexual pleasure. You know those things cost money. Am I going to just get rid of my treasure trove? I'm telling you, he hid that knife and he ain't threw away no vibrators or fake kitty cats or nothing else. Blow up doll, he just deflated that damn thing.
Oh my God! So they have those. I saw them. What you just said, like
They pulled the thing apart like you did the old plastic dolls as kids, and he took the air out of it.
Gross. That is so.
Especially not one with good batteries. What? I can't. Well, maybe he's got the kind that plugs in the wall with a cord. I don't know. And I would be shamed going into court and flashlights. What? Your parents hearing all these nasty things you got in your devices, and God forbid you got a box full of underwear and stilettos and tights.
Okay, so
garter
stop
belts.
right there. Think about that.
That's
Which
like
is
that Canadian guy who was high in the military. He was dressing up in those women's underwears after he killed them. Nasty bastard.
What if he was
behave.
breaking into homes and
breaking into homes and then trying on their underwear, and he had a collection. He had a collection of women's undergarments. So it's not only breaking and entering, assaulting the women, killing them. He was taking pictures, and they knew he was taking the pictures in their rooms while they were gone, before they got home. He's sitting here in their house taking pictures in their fucking garter belts and panties and bras.
Oh my God.
You are gone. How are you a rapist trying on a woman's underwear and bra? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that will be I'm interested to know what's in there. I'm feeling like that. I mean, I don't know that any of the stuff we're talking about.
Can you imagine the police comes to your house, arrest your husband, you hear the charge, and then you get the details later. You're already stunned. And then you hear, oh yeah, by the way, when he break in their house while they're gone and lie in wait, he was trying on their underwear and bras and garter belts and took pictures of himself in their house. What did you say? My husband did what?
Yeah, I could understand someone being in disbelief over that. I mean, that would be.
And then the world is listening.
Mm-hmm.
Bad enough it's going in your ear. But now the world is getting ready to hear that your husband's a sadist, stalker, burglar, rapist, murderer, and also likes wearing women's undergarments. You talk about hiding, wanting to hide, change your name. That's a lot to live with, knowing that you've been having relations in our home with this person and a family, and you don't even have any idea who the hell you've been sleeping with. This is exactly what I'm saying about not knowing people. So that's why I tell people that going on and on about apps and date sites and all that shit don't mean nothing. People are who they are, whether they are on Facebook, date app. If you are vow, you're vow. And know that those people that be on the date sites trying to pick up people and lure people or scam people, they still deal with regular people who are not on the sites. Let me make that clear. They still meet and greet people in the street, at bars, at church. You don't know people.
I don't know what I was getting ready to tell you. Yeah, I guess the dildos or anything blow up dolls would be the least of his worries in court, though, really. I mean, it'll definitely be embarrassing. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's 28 years old. There's not been really...
He died if they brought, let's say he did have a blow up doll, right? A woman or a man. He died if they brought that motherfucker into court.
He could have been using it to practice.
We're going to do like Lori Vallow. Ned! Here's Ned!
Was it Ned? That the name it was? I couldn't think of it earlier.
Yeah, that's the name of the devil. Ned! Introducing Exhibit A. Here is Ned. Kohberger's blow-up doll.
I mean, but either way, whether that's what he was doing or not, whether
I
he
gotta
had
quit
those
watching true crime. It's starting to affect me. I've got to stop watching this stuff.
But if he's never had, a girlfriend,
he's got to get off. We're all human. We all
that's what I'm saying.
We all need sexual pleasure. So that's it. Some people say, I don't care about sex. Well, that's your ass. We're all human. What was he doing to satisfy himself sexually?
Blow up doll with lipstick. Yes, I so picture it. I don't know why.
Blow up doll lipstick. What do you mean?
Lipstick on the blow up doll.
Oh, male blow up doll with lipstick. Well, that's why I said it could be a doll. Put a wig on her. I remember when I went out to this club last year, around this time last year, probably was February, and it was real cold that night. I was supposed to, the bar I go to was supposed to be having a club, and I had bought this nice black and white dress. It was supposed to be a black and white ball, so I bought a black and white dress, and I went out, and they weren't open. So I said, well, I'm going to go somewhere. So I went to, gay bar. They was having a drag night, whatever. So get in there. I'm sitting down. I could not stop staring at this transgendered female with this buff guy that looked like they both were Hispanic. The guy was buff, muscular, and he's sitting here with this man dressed like a woman. I thought, what is the point? If you like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Why
If you
would
like
you
men,
want
why not be with a man?
want a man that's dressed like a woman and you like a man? I just don't understand that.
And maybe it's for the public persona, so people.
But we already know that that's a man. I mean, if you're in the gay bar, you know that the people there are gay. Most
Right.
people there are gay, except for the straight women that are in there with their friends. So here I am as a straight woman looking at both. I know I'm looking at two men. One's dressed up like a woman, and I couldn't help but stare. They probably knew I was staring. I couldn't get over it. I just kept looking at them like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this guy buff with muscles sitting here with a guy dressed up like a girl, and he's just doting and touching on her and rubbing on her? It just amazed me. I never seen anything like it before. I just was like, I don't get it. You're walking around perpetrating to be a man, but yet you like men. And then you go get a man that's dressed like a feminine looking woman. The shit's baffling me. I just ain't never seen it.
It is baffling, and to each his own. I really don't care, but yeah, it is. And that's my thing. It'd be hard for me not to want to watch.
Yeah, okay, that's just like the black guy whose girlfriend finds out he's in a hotel recently, and she goes to the hotel, and he's in there with two transgendered men, however you word it. How the fuck are you going to explain logically why you're in a room with two men dressed like women? And don't you know he beat up the girlfriend?
Yeah, because he was embarrassed.
The two transgender people had to pull him off of her.
That's it.
Imagine the scene.
It's sad that he's jumping out on her.
You're caught cheating, and I walk up to the hotel room and see you're in here with two men dressed like women, and yet you're beating me up. I would have got me 10 to life for sure. Because after that motherfucker jumped me, and God forbid he got out of jail, I'd have blown that fucker's brains out.
And that's sad that he would do that to her.
Yeah, you're going to beat her up because you're caught in a hotel with two he-she's. That is stupid.
Yeah, and it's own insecurity with not
because he
being
probably
comfortable.
figured she was going to go tell people. Oh, you won't believe what happened. I caught him in a hotel with two transgendered women. There's so many men on the down low. I'm going to have to go, this is the year I was supposed to do my regular topics, and I haven't done one yet.
You need to do a vote on what type of topics.
That
would be a good one, though.
Do what?
The down low men would be a good topic.
Yeah, if people would hit the link. Because see, that invites a lot of trolls when you talk about that kind of topic.
Yeah, I guess that could.
Yeah, anytime you talk about same sex, it draws the wrong kind of people. Like the time last year when the person came on the live stream, he had his penis stuck in some type of device.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So it just, that's why I have to be careful now about dropping the link.
Right, it is 2023. I mean, everything's pretty much accepted these days.
Yeah, but that's the point I'm trying to make, is that there are people still, even in modern day, seeing that people are living their lives and being whoever they want to be, pink hair, orange hair, donkey's tail, whatever, they still will hide their true self. So they don't want people to know, hey, I'm attracted to men. I'm attracted to a man dressed in women's clothes, however they like it. They don't want people to know that. So they still will perpetrate and date a girl, marry a girl, have children with her, knowing they are physically, sexually attracted to men. They're still doing it, the down low. I'm sure they are. I hear it all the time about Atlanta, you don't want to come down here, you don't want to live down here. That's all they're about. That's all they want. These men like men. And these men look just straight men. They're not feminine looking men.
Yeah, I mean,
Kohberger, something about him is off to me. His face reminds me of he's a girl. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a girl. Look at Dixie. Lord have mercy. That shit pissed me off so bad when I turned that camera. He turned that fucking camera on, and I saw his penis. Oh my goodness! I could have jumped through the screen, choked the hell out of him. It's like, why would you do something like that? You're so disgusting. And that was the topic: men dressing in women's clothing. Why do men want to dress in women's clothing?
That's crazy that people would actually.
Yeah, gonna get up there with your legs wide open with your penis in some type of device. Just disgusting. Oh, Angry says he looks like a ventriloquist.
That's what don't be.
I was about them by myself. God, you're sick. But that's why I said there's something off with Kohberger. Queen is never wrong. I noticed his face. He reminded me of fucking my girl B. Arthur off of Golden Girls. When sometimes she would perch her lips on the Golden Girls. That's what I thought of. I said, this is fucking B. This is Dorothy.
Dorothy. And then think about this.
He says, what the? This is Dorothy. Hey, that's my new name for him on the headliner. Dorothy Burger. So everybody can say, who is that vault? Did you know who they're talking about?
Oh.
That's an inside joke. What's outside now? That's Dorothy.
But all along and then Blanche.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Yeah, that's him. Traveled all the way from Pennsylvania deliberately to go out there to the West Coast and kill some kids. Sick.
Yep. And then he watched Blanche's lifestyle, and that's what set him off.
Oh my God, I cannot believe you just said that.
Serious. But no joke.
Sophia, I need y'all to help me come out here and bring that lemonade on the lanai. So Kaylee is Blanche?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
No, I don't want to put her out there like that. I didn't mean it that way.
But you know what? I think if he did watch, he was pissed looking at these pretty girls dolled up, painted up. Oh my God, Angry said he needs a scarf. I can see him being jealous. They are everything that he was not. They were living their life. They were enjoying themselves for their age. I mean, you have people his age are still living like they're 21, 22, 20, going out, having fun, mingling with people. I keep telling people, many people who are my age, they're not dead. They go out on the weekends, they travel, they go out of town, they rent rooms, resorts, Airbnbs, they have functions that people drink, they eat. Ain't nobody sitting around acting like they're, dead. People are living because this time is short here. So you better enjoy it while you can. And he wasn't. Just imagine all the things you see people doing on social media. He wasn't doing any of that. Oh my God. Dixie said he needs a duster. Well, he can come to Angela's closet. I got lots of dusters.
And then possibly
my scarves the other day, pulling stuff out, redoing my closets and kitchen cabinets. Because I thought I had done everything for New Year's. And then I went through and found some more stuff. And I said, damn, you got so much stuff. Maybe I'll send him a scarf.
And the sick part is, he'll probably have more female attention now.
Dorothy Kohberger.
Dorothy. And I wonder if there was any pressure from his parents.
That's his new name on the headliner, Dot. So if you see that in the videos, we're talking about this thing. Dot Kohberger.
No more Big Bird. But really, I wonder if there was any pressure from his parents, as far as with his age, you're coming home.
When are you going to start dating? When are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids?
Are you going to bring a girl home? Mm-hmm.
See, that's what I said. Oh my God. Dixie said poor Maud. And I love Maud. Oh my goodness. I love that show. I found that show a couple years ago. I was in love with that show. I love the show just as much as I love the Golden Girls. Because I've got Golden Girls on. Let's
And
see,
it's
what
always on, yeah.
Hulu or Netflix, and I go straight in and just pull up the episodes. God, you all are sick. Oh, Callis is doing paperwork, trying not to wake up her husband. Okay, don't wake him up. Well, I don't think he's going to get off on insanity. I think he's going to play the role all the way out.
I didn't think Idaho had an insanity plea.
He's going to implicate somebody else. That's what the defense is going to be. If somebody else did it, somebody set him up, it's going to be something. Or I knew the girls. I was friends with one of them. I dated one. We hooked up. That's how he's going to use the pings. You got my pings there because I was there. He might just go ahead and admit, yeah, I was there. I went to their house. Those times you have me pinged there at their house. Wouldn't that be something if he says that?
I mean, I feel like it's going to go some sort of way like that. Like, it'll be shocking. Like, he's like, yes, I was there. Now how he explains he was there, I don't know.
It. Exactly. He's going to say Ned did it. And then he might pull a split personality. One day it's Ned, next day it's Bryan. Imagine that.
He does kind of resemble Norman Bates as well.
Yeah. Well, they put a picture of him up against Ted Bundy, trying to compare their facial features. I thought, Lord have mercy. Just give it a rest.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see who he tries to implicate. I do feel like he will. But I mean, I guess it is possible that he did go in the house whenever. I mean, do you think that if there was a party going on, that he?
He just walked up and tried to blend in.
Yeah, I just have a hard time seeing him blending in for some reason.
But the thing about that is, he knows that anybody could say, "Who's this?" Then everybody will stop and look at him. What's he going to say? Who brought him there, or who told him to come? Then he's got to now make up a name. Oh, my homeboy, Bob said there was a party over here. And then they'll say, Bob who? Especially if somebody's looking at you and think you're older than 2021.
Yeah, and he definitely does look older.
Well, he's not going to have the blow up doll in court. They'll have somebody probably bring it in.
Exhibit A.
I want to see what his mother looks like.
Yeah, she was covered up. You really didn't get to see her. I just finally see what the dad looks like. It was kind of creepy, It was just like the Bryan laundry thing. The dad out there mowing. That you see him now. You see
Roberta looking like a damn man herself.
Yeah, so now you see Bryan's dad out there blowing leaves or whatever he was doing the other day.
Yeah.
I'd be embarrassed to come out of my house.
Big Bertha.
Yeah, Norman Bates, I definitely say resembles. He was crazy. I like that show, though.
He's going to drag this out, and that's the sad part, because the families need to be able to grieve, and it's going to be hard going into court, wait until you finally get to court, got to get a jury, all that. And then, God forbid, the day you start trial, they bring out the photographs of the victims, and then the worst photograph. That's just a lot to deal with.
Yeah,
and then you got this creature sitting here acting like he ain't done nothing.
Brad's dad needs to get a bra.
But what'll be interesting is if they play the coin of saying nasty things about him that might push him to really show who he is, and he acts out in court. Because you start saying some things about him
yes.
Right, he might just show who he really is. Yeah, awesome. They both need bras.
And with the family being in Pennsylvania, I can't imagine they'll be able to support him very often in court.
And then look at where they live, the Poconos. Place where I'm sure the mob has dumped a lot of bodies. Think about it. I'm sure there are lots of people that are actually dead up in those damn mountains. And what are the odds this thing has been living up in there all this time and then comes to the Pacific Northwest to chop up 4 kids?
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, it's hard to think that he didn't come here with the intentions to do something.
I don't think he came here with the intention. I mean, he knew he's going to have to work naturally because you got to be able to support yourself. But I think he intentionally chose Washington for a hunting ground, or Idaho or neighboring states. I think that was the plan. I'll pick a school far away and I'll be out of the way. Nobody can see what I'm doing, know what I'm doing. I don't have to worry about nobody popping in to visit my apartment and stop in to say hello. Because think, if you've got nefarious things in your house, you got to hide all that if your family ever comes to visit.
Yeah, and I've been curious of what his relationship was like with his family. Like, you know, previous to this, did he go? Well, I guess he did live previously at Christmas time in Pennsylvania, but, you know, did you always spend the holidays with your parents? And I don't know. I still question the ride back. You know, I still think that's odd.
What's odd?
The dad flying and drive.
Because it's expensive. Everybody knows how much it costs to book an airline flight. You can't.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
You cannot book anything spur of the moment without it costing.
Right. I mean, and a lot of times
you're flying all the way across the country. You're not even flying to the middle. You didn't go fly to like Indiana, Minnesota. You flew to the last part of the edge of the fucking earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive.
And it just doesn't make sense, you know, if it's, because it's such a far job and we're going to, you know, switch off driving. So were you planning on doing that when he came back?
Look, you all could have done that in the summer when he decided he wanted to go to the school and got accepted.
Right, but it just makes me wonder, is that the plan?
Hey, I'm going to pack my car up. Let's go over there. Let's go drive, take a family trip before I start school. That, to me, summertime would have been the best time to do a cross-country trip. Who wants to do a fucking cross-country trip in the winter?
Well, and it's not like they were stopping off in another state to...
because you don't know how the weather's going to be when you start going into those certain areas where it's known to get snow. So the best time to do cross-country trips, everybody knows, is in the summer, spring and summer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do cross-country trips in the winter because you don't know what kind of weather you're going to encompass.
I would lose it being in the car that long. Ugh.
You might be stranded for days in a blizzard.
Right. And that's a lot of hours. I would
That's
never.
why his car was so nasty.
Mm-hmm.
He's going through all that bad winter, elements and stuff. What'll be interesting is we find out that daddy knows more. That daddy knows something. There's a reason for the daddy. I think he asked his daddy to come out. I think he made up an excuse why he wanted to spend time with him. Maybe he felt like he didn't feel good. It's something. I don't think it was planned, because that's just not a time to want to see the sights when the land is barren. The land is barren in November.
Yeah.
America is really nothing but farmland once you come out of a metropolis.
Do you feel like he may have told his dad? God, imagine that.
It depends on what kind of father he has. If he's got to say this for a father, then maybe so. But you see, they're talking about presumption of innocence. People whack. Because nobody just shows up at your house, raiding your house at 3 a.m. on an accident. Every blue moon, you might get a mistaken identity or wrong address for a raid. You know what I'm saying? Somebody went, U.S. Marshals go to the wrong house, get the addresses mixed up. I don't think that happens often. I don't know.
Not very often.
I don't think this was a mistake.
No, I think they definitely did their due diligence to make sure that they were at the right place before they.
And imagine when you come to your faculties and dissect what they're saying, what the arrest warrant says, and you're sitting there like, you came here to do what? Murder? What you mean murder? That's a lot to try to come to from your sleep.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, I couldn't imagine as a parent.
And then what did he say to his parents? They got it wrong. I didn't do anything. It's a mistake.
He probably didn't have time to say much of shit before they put handcuffs on him and put him in the back of a car.
Yeah, but your parents will be asking though, Brittany.
Yeah, and they did say
no way your parents will not run out and ask you. You don't care if they drug him out, carried him out. Your parents are asking you what this is about.
I guess he just says he didn't do it.
Yeah, but you can't explain the chief.
I would be
logical way you can explain it. And it's just like we said, you can transfer hair here, there to New York, Bahamas, but you are not going to explain dead people stacked on top of each other in a bed and a sheet that holds the knife that is suspected of killing the people, your DNA, touch DNA on the case. Because you got to do deduction of 6 degrees of separation of how you came to be in this demographic. Do you know the kids? Do they know you? Have they been in your house? Have you been in their house? You got to prove how you know them, that you know them, and why your knife case will be laying on a bed with people chopped up. It looks bad either way. Even if you knew them, you couldn't logically explain why your knife case would be lying beside a dead body.
No, I mean, even if you want to say you've been over there before because you did know them,
But I'm just
that
saying,
does not
you still can't
explain.
explain why your knife case would be, or a case would have your DNA on it next to some dead people. Because now you got to say, how did you come to know the dead people? Why is your DNA on something in their house if you don't know them?
And it's possible that there's more DNA that just hasn't been released.
Oh, I'm sure there's a whole lot more, because if you're sloppy enough to have taken that case, sat it on the bed before pulling that knife out, that's why you know they were the first ones he killed. You drove your car there 12 times lurking around. You're seen riding around, nighttime, daytime. There is other stuff you left behind.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there has to be.
All right, good night, Mimi.
And there's no way he waited until he was in Pennsylvania to clean that car. I can't believe that part either. I mean, I believe that he was truly cleaning it when he was in Pennsylvania, but I have to believe he did some
Well, you
sort
had to get in it bloody unless you changed your clothes in the middle of the street. See, that's another thing you have to remember. Why are you vigorously cleaning it in Pennsylvania? You got in it bloody.
That's something interesting.
So where did you park the car? And what makes me think you stood outside your car stripped naked and got in your car half naked? And then what? Put your clothes on, you got near your apartment some kind of way? That's bullshit.
I wonder, I didn't pay attention in the body cam footage. I wonder what type of seats he had, if they were leather or cloth.
You still got that. I'm telling you, he didn't have no bag with him. I don't believe he changed his clothes inside those people's house.
Yeah, I don't know that. I think he changed them in the house, but I definitely feel like because also with him driving.
Well, how did he do that? And he passed her after probably leaving Xander's room. How did he do that?
No, I don't think he would have changed his clothes in the home. I think maybe afterwards, because I just find it so risky.
But you mean he got in the car bloody? Yeah.
Or maybe, yeah, unless he changed outside of the car. But that's so, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's too risque.
Yeah.
Even at 4 a.m, changing your clothes outside in public. Police, anybody could roll by. And then that's another thing. Where did he park the car?
You know, and it's possible they see exactly what he does when he gets back to the car.
Yeah, because we don't know where he parked. We don't know if he parked on a street with houses or he parked up there on Walent. We don't know how he did it, but you can't ever assume you're doing something and nobody's viewing it. It's just like what somebody said in the chat. People just don't say anything, but that don't mean they didn't see what you were doing.
Mm-hmm. And you know, there's a lot of things that can be called under surveillance. The thing is getting to the surveillance fast enough. So, you know, unless they're not backing up their surveillance, that, you know, it's not copied over and things. Because it doesn't sound like, you know, if that one worker at the gas station, if she wouldn't have looked for the footage of his car going by, that they even would have had that.
Andre says, unless he had some help, just speculation. Hey, T, how you doing? Hit the link, T. What you doing up this late? Let's see what time I got. I got after 1 o'clock. Lord.
Yeah, that's a good point. It would be on the pedal if it was on his shoes.
Yeah, and that's going to be the hard part of the car to clean, the grooves.
Uh-huh.
And they know that. And that's what they're hoping. Bloody shoe print on the pedal. He didn't get down there with a spray bottle trying to clean that.
And with it being black, it probably wouldn't be, you know, easy to see either.
Sad, man. This is so sad.
He's sick guy.
Yeah,
you know,
sick.
It's crazy.
I'm just glad. I'm bringing it up, baby. I'm just glad he doesn't have children.
Oh, thank God.
So they gonna pass that gene pool along, and the kid have to grow up under the scrutiny of this drama, and the parents. I got a feeling they know that something was wrong with their son. Naturally, nobody's gonna think their kid's gonna go out here and kill somebody, but they knew that their son had some issues. I'll just say that. No way you didn't know your kid had serious issues.
I didn't even think about the shoe print. That's very smart.
Oh, the gas pedal.
I didn't even think of that. I forgot
You gotta
about the
get in
shoe
the car.
print.
You gotta drive. You gotta put the drive shift, the drive shift in whichever way it went. I mean, you're touching stuff, touching the radio, all type of stuff in there. Welcome, T. What are you doing up this late?
I was on my way actually to bed, and I saw you was live. And yeah, I just came in late, but I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and comment.
Well, thank you. Well, this is a 3-part title, basically. Noise complaints. I showed the video of when they confront Kaylee about the noise, and it told her they'd be a $300 ticket next time if they had to come back. And naturally, that was 2 weeks before the September 1st incident where the boys were opening the doors and said the girls weren't there. So what I'm trying to show people is what it looked like around the property with full foliage, who was making the complaints. Is it possible Kohberger made the complaints because he was out watching and stalking? And did he know any of the girls or Kaylee? Go ahead. I'm going to take a quick break. Go ahead, baby.
Okay. I'm just taking in what you just said.
Okay.
How does anybody know that maybe he has a link to the boys that was at the house?
Oh, Ethan. Well, that's been mentioned. So what would be his nexus to Ethan? Because he was the only guy there that night.
I don't know. It could have been.
He didn't make friends easily.
Right. I mean, let's say he did know Ethan or knew of Ethan and they socialized with each other, Ethan got the more attention from the girls. It could have been jealousy type thing. But a big part of me still feels like Ethan lost his life due to hearing what was going on and whatnot. For some reason, I feel like that's the reason why both him and Xana lost their lives. Is he was scared. He startled or he caught Bryan. I don't feel like he knew him. So I don't know. I don't know. All I know is there has to be some kind of link to him to that house. And then his phone was connected to their Wi-Fi. Then that makes me question, did they have a password? If they had a password on their Wi-Fi, who gave it to him? He had to have some kind of link in that house if there's a password to that Wi-Fi, because someone would have had to give it to him. But if it's just an open Wi-Fi, then his phone would connect anyway. Because
he didn't have his phone on, so you didn't dismiss the phone.
Okay, so
his phone
is out.
448 back at his house.
Okay, then that's not it. As far as the house,
how does he know the girls? How did he pick that house?
I don't know how he would randomly pick that house. I honestly cannot tell you how anybody would randomly pick that house.
Yes, you can. See, you all are too stuck on social media because that's all you know right now. At one time, social media didn't exist. So think again. How did the rapist pick the victims he picked 20, 30 years ago? How did Bundy pick his victims? How did Gacy pick his victims? How did BTK pick his victims? There was no social media.
No.
There's no IG. They picked them the old-fashioned way. I saw you walking around.
Right.
That's just the easy route to assume it's social media. You don't know if he drove over to Moscow deliberately to hunt. Drove by the street, saw some pretty girls walking in or out, decided to play funny games by watching. Moscow only 15 minutes. That's nowhere to drive.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, I mean, it's just easy to use social media as, that's how he found them. But if you're a lurker, you're going to drive around anyway, just to be seeing what's going on. And the fact that he drove miles and miles the day of, going past the coffee shop and all these different towns, and he did both routes the same day. He's been lurking. He's been lurking since he touched down. I believe he deliberately moved to Washington for this reason.
You got it, possibly. And for you to say he was driving around, which there is documents of that.
Yeah.
It
Both
also
days,
makes me wonder.
He did it the day before, I believe, shopping and running around. And they say that route is damn near identical to the route of the 13th after killing them. Just hours of driving. And then
as if he was looking for him.
And then they took the route. The news people took the route. It's nothing out where they're at, except for fucking cell towers and land. And sporadic housing. Just open freeway.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that it's relevant, but I do wonder the smoke shop. Did he ever go by the smoke shop? Like, I wonder, due to the fact he has fought, like you said, if he is following them and he's gone and he has a certain pattern and path, and he did the same path, I wonder if that's part of his path, because that's where the girls went a few weeks prior.
But see, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that you're going to have to go through his data to show how he came to choose the girls. And it's his data and information and notes is how you're going to come across, to the truth of how he chose them. But it doesn't necessarily have to be social media. That's just an easy scapegoat to say he found them on social media. It could have been just age old. He's a wanderer. He's a lurker. So he gets out and ride around. Think about it. He just moved there. So he's going to do that anyway. How are you going to learn a town if you just sit in your house? Well, you can't. You got to get out. So when you get out, you're driving by places, and then stuff starts becoming familiar every time you decide to go to the store. Then you find another road. Then you find a shortcut. See where I'm going? Then your neighbor in a school. So hey, let me go over here to this town and check out this Idaho University. Let me see what they got going on. It's not really far-fetched that he would come to Moscow. That's an ignorant theory that he got no business over there, because it's ain't but 15 minutes away. And there's no way you're going to tell me people don't travel from town to town, because people do.
Yeah, I mean, 15 minutes away, that's a saying of down the road.
Well, it is. If you're in a metropolis, that's just across town.
Yeah.
So he could have just been riding, looking for something. Or he could have been meticulously choosing Moscow. I know what I want to do. Let me go over here, see what they got going on. Let me see what the people look like. Because I believe he deliberately chose the West to do this, and I believe he chose Moscow deliberately. It doesn't even necessarily have to be that he was hunting one of these kids. He could have found them happenstance. Just was in Moscow, came across one of or more of the girls. I mean, he could have actually, like you said, he could have been passing somewhere, saw some pretty girls, his type, blonde, could have lied in wait, waited, followed them home. So you don't know.
Right. That is true. I don't know.
But let's be truthful. If you had a stalker, wouldn't you be contacting the police? Wouldn't there be records of you going to the police? Just talking about it to your friends, that doesn't mean anything.
Right. And if you're that concerned, you would contact the police.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah.
to the point where we got to go in groups, you should have a file already.
Right. And I feel like a part of me feels like if that would have been done, they would have looked at that report first. Does that make sense?
And then when you say you got a stalker, what is he doing?
What does he look like? What has he
All that.
said?
You can't have a stalker without knowing something about the person. So where was he stalking you at? How was he stalking you? Was he sending you messages? Was he dropping off stuff at the house? Were you seeing him near the house? Were you coming outside? He's standing there, parked there. There's no reason for you not to have this information on file with the police. The fact that the police didn't have a stalker named, that tells me she never filed no complaint. So it couldn't have been that important of a stalker. That's just my opinion.
And even the parents don't really give anything to back it up where this person was stalking
I
them.
be calling people saying, hey, every time I come out, I see this guy. Everywhere I go, he pops up. You would go to the police. I'm not going to keep talking about some guy following me just to, appeal to my friends.
Yeah, and with them having no blinds in their home and curtains, you would think that would also be something you would be cautious of if you feel like you have a stalker.
But it could go back to they just didn't give a fuck. I've met people who talk, but they don't follow through. You know how many people I talk to that don't follow through on stuff? They like to hear themselves, but they never follow through on a complaint, inquiry, business. They do everything at the last minute. Everything's woe is me. They want sympathy. And I'm not saying this is how these kids are, but a lot of people are young, and if they're not taught properly how to handle business and navigate, they become these type of people. They just talk, but they don't follow through. They just think it'll pass over. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It'll weed itself out. Well, you can't expect a stalker to weed itself out if you don't know the mind of the person. I remember when I worked in a mall once years ago. It's probably, was this 2000? I worked in this, it was like a hair store. And every day this guy would come in the store. And I don't know, it was just something hideous about him. He was a light-skinned black guy. He had like curly hair. He was kind of chubby, solid build. And he would wear this choker necklace up on his neck. And I just used to look at that and I used to say, why is he wearing that necklace so tight on his neck? And it just turned me off every time he just kept coming in the store and coming in the store. And I think at one point I might have said something like, you sure pop up in here a lot, often. And I think he might have said, well, what's the problem? I was like, well, I am at work and it is a business. And he probably felt like, well, what's the big deal? You don't have any customers in here anyway, because it was just a type of store that it didn't get a lot of customers. So he possibly knew that. So he's looking at me like, well, what's the big deal with me coming in here? There's nobody in here. And that gave you pause because his attitude was like, what's the big deal? But it was creepy. And I used to hate leaving the store at night knowing he could be somewhere watching, because he made a point to come in that store every day or every other day. And trust me, this mall was out in the middle of nowhere.
So, and he knew it was low traffic.
Yeah, but he knew that store was low traffic because he had to watch. This wasn't the, competing with no Claire's and all that where there's traffic. It was, a wig store. So, and they had a few little accessories in it. So he already knew that. So that's why he's looking at me like, what are you complaining about me coming in this store? But he started to annoy me because I got tired of every time I looked up, he's in the store. And I know you really don't have any reason to be in here because I'm not selling anything that would appeal to a heterosexual man.
Right.
Why are you in here? It's not even a store to stop by even as a man. You have no reason to even go in there unless you like dressing up as a woman.
Right.
It was annoying. Eventually he stopped coming in there. Because you have to stand your ground. And see, that's what you have to always remember about people like that. They're not expecting for you to bite back. Okay?
Right.
They're not expecting you to bite back. They're expecting you to shrivel up and don't say nothing and be asked personal questions and you divulge it. No. That's why I tell you all that all the time. You don't feel comfortable expressing yourself on a personal question or somebody asking you something about your personal business, you do not have to answer. And I tell people that all the time. Stop acting like you're scared to say, I prefer not to answer that, or that's none of your business.
I have to agree. I mean, you really don't have to.
But
because
see,
if you answer all that information,
that's
you're
what
gonna
they
leave yourself
want.
vulnerable.
That's what people want. Nosy people want that. That's how people get to know you and learn you, is ask you stuff. And they're not hoping you're going to pick up on the fact that they're fishing.
Right.
People fish every day. Oh, I don't mean to be nosy, or I was just wondering about this. And next thing you know, they've taken the information and spread it to somebody, or they're holding on to it in their pocket for a later date. I don't trust anybody asking personal stuff. I just don't. Because I want to know what the fuck are you asking me for and what are you going to do with the information?
Right.
You know, and I tell people, I know a lot of people think, well, that's not a good way to live, Angela. And I tell people, I didn't get to this age because I walked around and acted like you. I've jumped the gun, I'm sure, on a few occasions. But when I get a bad vibe about somebody, I'm usually never wrong. Especially when it comes to people inquiring and asking personal questions. And anybody with sense should know, you do not give a random man information that's popping up in your business every day and knowing that what you're selling in the store is not for men.
Right.
You know, where do you live? What side of town? You live on this side of town? Blah, blah, blah. Hell no.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But that's my point. It's the South. He's expecting me to answer. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. This is what people do here in the South. They talk. You can go in a small town right now and find out anything you want about people because people don't know when to shut up. Girl, and he came in here and he did this and blah, blah, blah. And before you know it, you just listen long enough, you already know who they're talking about. You don't even have their government name. You can just guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl, he live over here in such and such development. His baby mama drive a red car. And then you get to thinking, red car, red. You see what I'm saying? Red car, red car. And before you know it, you put two and two together. Oh, I know who the hell she's talking about.
Yep. And then you thinking, I didn't know all that.
But you see how you and I have talked, and we obviously know of similar people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's how small the world is.
Yeah.
And you don't live where I live, and I don't live where you live. But better believe you and I know of people, of the same people.
Right.
Because you're only an hour or so up the highway.
That is true. And you wouldn't even know it unless you talk and put the business out.
Exactly. You start talking, and things start coming out. People start telling people stuff. Yeah, I went to Big Lots and such was in there. And then you start listening to what they're saying and you start thinking, that person sounds familiar. The next thing you know, you might say, well, describe them to me. And then they say, well, they didn't say that. Then you know who they're talking about.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Do you think he knew of anybody in that house?
In my opinion, yes.
Oh, Lord, T.
I think he did, but.
And who was it?
Which one had the stalker?
We don't know. Allegedly it was Kaylee, but there's no proof yet. Or it hasn't been revealed, let's say.
Right. I haven't seen that neither about it. It was either her or the one that had the sheath fire.
Maddie, they were both together.
Yeah.
And you know what I told myself? What I told the audience the other night? Imagine he's been fixated on one of them, let's say. Mm-hmm. And then when he walked in the room, they're both in the bed together.
Right.
Oh, I'm really pissed.
So I
because just imagine
and-
what he's thinking. Oh, they're gay.
right, and that could be the reason. If it's Maddie and he liked her, let's just say that in my opinion, if he liked her and saw them in the bed, he would take his anger out on
Kaylee.
Because here you go. And wasn't she the one that had the significant
Yes, allegedly.
wounds?
We don't really know that because they won't really say. They just talking riddles about that. But see, what's contradictory about that is the father said that wounds don't match, but then he also says he didn't have no business going upstairs. So then that makes no sense. Then which is it? Why would the killer have no reason to go upstairs? If the wounds don't match her and Maddie, which is alluding that your daughter got it worse. See, he talked in circles. I don't really understand nothing of the shit that he ever said.
Right.
Well, oh yeah, if I'm fixated on you, and then I'm coming up, let's just say I'm watching you, and I like you, I'm interested. This is before I even think about killing you. I'm interested in you. You know fucking well I'm angry if I see you being affectionate with another guy, girl, same sex, whatever. I'm really pissed now because now somebody's got your eye. So imagine I ain't never seen none of that, and then I come up in that fucking house and see two women in the bed. Oh, hell yeah, I'm going ham.
Because you're going to feel some kind of way because you're going to be feeling rejected.
You already rejected when you decided to kill those kids. And then too, like some guy was saying on news, one of my news programs, he said, it doesn't even have to be none of that stuff that you're thinking. Because, everybody want to try to put it together. That's a target. Like he said, it could just be he wanted to thrill seek. He wanted
the hunting and then.
Yes. So he could have found them by accident. Decided that's who he wanted. Because I don't believe that all the people I've seen that kill people, that they just targeted that one person. You understand what I'm saying? They could have just seen them walking down the street and decided, okay, I think I want her. Opportunity. That's what I'm trying to say. I believe some of these crimes are opportunity, not the person was stalked. Just, I saw what I wanted and I wanted that. And then maybe it ensued from that. And then he started going by. And then I guess naturally you would say, okay, they became the target because he was by there so many times.
I mean, some killed just
for the thrill. As this guy said,
if they could do it just because they can.
That's what I'm saying. Some crimes are happenstance.
Like I want to see if I can do this one.
Get away with that.
Yeah.
Just like a guy can see a pretty girl, he's a sadist. He's got to have a first time, right? So let me see if I can get her in my car.
Yeah, and might not even do nothing to her that day or at time.
Right, but
and
it
then
could just be
see her again.
On this day, this is the day that thing comes out, the beast, and he sees her. She's pretty. Boom! I want her. I want to try to get her in my car.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people can't understand why he left her. The one girl alive. But let me tell you, I want you to watch that video of Kaylee coming out and the police talking to her and everything about the noise. And I'm wondering if perhaps maybe he is the one calling in on the complaints of her and the kids. Think about that.
Could be.
Our crime says he got there in August, but one report, they're saying they're pings of him following the kids back in June. I'm not really sure. So let's say he followed them in August. He got there in August. That means he was intentionally looking for a target. Because that's just too soon to touch down for school and you're already stalking people 15 minutes away in another damn state. That means you deliberately went out there to kill. There's no other way I could dissect that. Because why would that be on your radar and you're just now starting school?
Right.
So I think he intentionally moved to Washington to murder. I believe that. And I think he could be the one that was making the noise complaints. First, they go to one guy's house. Then they go up the street to the girl's house around the corner. Who's to say he wasn't driving around watching? He's angry, looking at all these people gathering, having fun. Fuck them. Who are they? Boom, 911. Now, 2 weeks later, September 1st, it's nighttime. He's watching, gawking. 911. call again, 911. And the one thing I heard a while back is that there was a description in the 911 that, oh, it's going to be a girl and a guy. How would you know that?
Oh.
Unless you're the neighbor calling and you got a bullseye of the back side of the house. See where I'm going?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It'll be a guy and a girl out there. So they can't leave nobody but a neighbor calling.
And looking right at them.
Yeah, looking right at them. Or somebody else that's angry. And see, my thing is, as I talked about earlier yesterday, that the earth has to get retribution for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I got a feeling that these kids really didn't care about disturbing the peace because they did it again 2 weeks later. And I thought at the time, before I even knew who the killer was, that what if this was a neighbor pissed off at them? They feel like they're disrespectful, don't care about, me, other people. But we now know allegedly it's this Kohberger person.
Right.
So there's also a rumor of a girl who killed herself. Do not know if this has any relevance. But what I was saying to myself listening to this, allegedly she was a roommate of Maddie's at one point. Do not know if it's true or not. Some girl got on the social media page of the dead girl, Maddie, and said, you got what you deserve for how you treated this Hannah girl. Now, Hannah was a heavyset white girl with glasses. I started thinking, what if this is true? She bullied her. Maybe she had some other friends bully her. And the earth was playing a dirty game on November 13th.
Oh, wow.
That's deep, ain't it?
Yeah.
Because you can do things that can boomerang back.
Right.
You may not think about it. And a lot of people don't want to own that. But you can't go out here and mistreat people and do things and think something bad won't happen to you. Because let's just say they had that kind of attitude. I call them the brat pack because they hung like a pack. What if they had that kind of attitude? We do what we want. Who cares? We're pretty. Who gives a fuck? And who's to say Kohberger, let's say he was stalking him. And that's the feel he got from the girls. See where I'm going? That group that's nasty wouldn't pick me, wouldn't choose me. Maybe they said something on social media he didn't like. And then you factor in perhaps they teased this Hannah person. Did he see anything in a post that was derogatory about the dead girl?
Right.
Because the girl killed herself in February. He hadn't made it to Washington yet. Months later. So you never know. But like I said, the earth has to get it back. And it's not to be mean or facetious because their deaths were heinous. But we all make mistakes and do things we don't have no business. But like I said, what if this is the earth getting retribution for this Hannah girl? What if we find out it's true? They were roommates. She did tease her. She had other people help tease her. And that led to the girl killing herself. I'm not sure what's the truth to any of that. Say what, honey?
But, okay, and if that was the case, wouldn't they would have to find a link, though?
No, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying it don't
or is it what they put out in the universe?
It don't mean Kohberger even knew anything about the teasing. I'm saying the earth getting back retribution.
Got you.
The devil used him to go in.
Right. Collect.
To collect. But a lot of people don't like thinking like that because it sounds cruel.
Does it sound cruel or is it a scary truth?
Well, and that's the thing. It depends on your perception of life and if you believe in God. See, that's the thing. Because they say he's a favorable God, that he's not vengeful. But that doesn't mean that the devil can't work because he does work. So the minion that caused all this of messing with the girl and get her to kill herself, let's say, if that's true, he also would use somebody to then go in and double back. See what I'm saying?
Right, to collect. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that would be very interesting to find out there's some truth to this roommate situation with Maddie. Because what be the odds? You teased a girl, she killed herself, and you die months later by a brutal death. You can't make that up. That's why I'm hoping that is not even true about this Hannah kid. Because they said the person posted it on her page after death. You got what you deserve. Because of what you did to that Hannah. And I thought, I can't see somebody making that up.
Right.
That just seemed too extreme.
That sounds to me like someone who was friends with Hannah.
And they knew, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know people will lie and make up stuff to try to soup up a theory or something. But what if there's some truth to it? And what if we get somebody else that can validate it and say, yeah, they were teasing her. They did this to her. She became overwhelmed and she killed herself. Man, that would be deep as hell.
Yeah.
So your theory is what? He knew of one of the girls, or he saw them on social media. What?
Well, got my mind spinning now.
And now I know. I'm good at that.
Well, I don't even, my thing is I don't want to say no.
Or were we acting out a scary movie? Because I do think the way DM spins the story sounds like a bad movie.
It really does.
The opening and closing the doors, that just bothers the hell out of me.
Yeah, it really does.
You know what I said? The people who write the movies, they write what they think people would do. I always said that. They write what they think you would do, a certain type of you, not necessarily an I. But she's going to answer the phone. She's going to pick the phone back up even after the dodo bird call saying crazy stuff. She's going to go to the door. She's going to open the door. She's going to look out. She's going to step on the porch. See where I'm going?
Yeah.
Because why every movie they write this? Every movie they do the same damn thing.
I don't know. Okay.
Now, I'm not saying he was trying to, reenact it because his sister was in a movie. No, I think he's already tainted. But it doesn't take much for a tainted mind to go far out. So little things can, help spin the wheel.
Right.
You're already tainted. So anything you listen to, see, view, help aids what's already messed up in you. So somebody that's sick don't really need to be watching scary movies. You see what I'm saying? Because your mind has already got bad thoughts. And now let's see you watching somebody get hacked up is help feeding the fury that's already in you. Violent porn, that's feeding the violence that's already in you, the bad thoughts.
Right.
And like I told the chat, I won't doubt that he watches porn, probably watch violent porn. I won't doubt that he took pictures or videotaped this pictures of how they looked afterwards. He needs a trophy. He's got to have something.
Right.
Took something from the scene. Possibly ejaculated while killing the kids or did it afterwards.
Like playing out his fantasy?
Yeah. I also believe there's a feminine element to it. It's something I get with him when he's in the Pennsylvania court. That there's some feminineness about him to me. We may find out that he could be a closet gay guy. A good reason to hate pretty girls.
Right.
I'm trying to live this life.
That would fall into like animosity, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because they're saying that he didn't care for the LGBTQ community. So you got to weigh all that into this thing.
So he did not like the community.
Yeah, didn't like the gays, minorities. So I told myself, what if we're talking about a closeted man who's beating himself up for the feelings he's feeling? Because I get a feminine vibe in the picture of him where he's in the courtroom, walking through the court building in Pennsylvania. There's something not right.
Right. But he has a problem with that community and the sheath was where?
Laying beside Maddie.
Who was with
Right.
Kaylee, right?
Yeah, so we know he killed them first because that would make sense. I went up there, pulled the knife out the sheath, and then I left it in my frenzy to go downstairs and finish the other people. That's
So I went to the first two, who I'm assume is a couple, which should be part of the community that I can't stand.
Well, and see, that's what I was going to say too, and I've never said that during a live stream. Could it be that he thought the girls were gay or bisexual?
And one of them rejected him because it's because you're a lesbian. Just makes sense what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying.
And it could just be, hey, he's just not,
And I said they could have been that way because girls do experiment, and before you even knew that they died in the same bed together, who's to say that they weren't doing something together?
Right.
Because the father spoke that was supposed to be the end result when she went off to go to move to Austin, that she wanted to make sure she would have Maddie near her when they both finished school. And that's nothing wrong with that, of course. That doesn't make you, gay or anything. But who's to say, because you don't know what goes on behind closed doors.
Right. And, they might not have told their parents. You know what I mean?
Why would I tell my parents that if I know I still like boys?
Right. You understand this? Yeah. Because at first I didn't know when this case broke out. I just thought, okay, they were sharing rooms, and then further down the road, you realize, okay, they're in the same bed. You're thinking, okay, and I understand that you can be girlfriends and not be dating and be in the same bed.
Yeah, because if
like
she
watching movies and stuff,
or they
you know
just
what I
in the
mean?
room talking, laughing, and laid across the bed and fell asleep, it could have went a multitude. Because really, we don't even know if they were asleep or not. It's just they were found in the same bed. But I told myself, imagine that if one was my target and I come flying up in that fucking room ready to kill one of them, and I see two of them in the bed together. Oh, hell no. What is this? So you made a good point. Stab the one that I think, you was attracted to. Because you got to remember, he's sick. So his mind is all over the place anyway.
Right. So
he laid out all type of wicked fantasies and crazy nonsense and ideologies in his head.
Yeah. But I have that, but then I'm still trying to figure out, and don't get me wrong, not saying this in a bad way, but yet you leave somebody alive. So you could have left Ethan and Xana alive if it was because someone saw you.
If you want to say he walked past her in a frenzy, he would have been just in a frenzy coming from upstairs.
Right. And she's not saying he ran by me. She says he walked by me. So therefore, there was no urgency of him leaving.
Well, I think he was done. Because before people died. We believe the two got killed first. So he came downstairs. What led him to Xana's room? Was one of them already out in the kitchen area and a fight ensued? But then my thing is, the worst case scenario, they would have died in the kitchen and not in the bedroom. The affidavit says Ethan died in the room with her. But the rumor was that Ethan was found in the hallway. That would have been by her room. Because the hallway is just a little small 2 feet, 3 feet area.
Right.
It's not even big. So why would somebody put that out to say, hey, don't be talking about them. They the ones that called. They the ones that found them. That's what made them run out of the house. Okay, then how could you found him in the hall when he was found dead in Xana's room? So what is the truth?
So I think
I have a problem with
as
all
far
of this.
as that, with Xana and Ethan, whenever the surviving roommate says she heard someone say there's someone here, that could have possibly been Xana seeing him.
Well, it could be anything. The police want to try to make it seem like she's saying it about her DoorDash order. Like maybe she was talking to Ethan, like, hey, they're here. Because she ordered food too. So we don't know. This is all DM's version.
Right.
And what I find
I don't know how
that she doesn't know Xana's voice from Kaylee's voice.
Right. She never pointed that out. Well, I heard
Kaylee
this and I heard
playing
that.
with the dog. Then it was, I heard somebody say, he's here, they're here, he's here, but I can't tell if it was Kaylee or Xana. But yet, the funny thing about this is, how is it that Maddie's left out of this I can't tell voice syndrome?
Right.
That's interesting to me. So you
And then
basically
she heard a male voice.
Xana and Kaylee have the same voice.
Right. And then hearing the male voice.
But you don't,
saying,
right,
you
didn't
know.
specify, like you said, Ethan said.
Right. Exactly.
Sounded like Ethan said. So we got to decide if that was Ethan in the room she heard talking or the killer was around there talking.
But is that deliberately?
I don't know, baby.
To make it seem like, hey.
I just got a bad feeling. I pray I'm wrong. It's just, my thing is with all this so-called conversations, dog barking, Kaylee playing with a dog, he's here, it's okay. It's just too whack for my comprehension. And then you're opening and closing doors while all this conversation is going on. You keep jumping up to hear voices that you don't recognize. But yet if I'm drunk or inebriated, would I be jumping up, opening and closing the door?
If I'm drunk or inebriated and I open the door, I'm going on in the hall because I'm drunk and inebriated. So my alertness is not as what it should be. So I would open the door and be like, what's going on? So
that's why I thought it was weird. If you heard a dog barking and you're not used to the dog barking or it bothers you, wouldn't you say, hey, what's going on up there? I'm trying to sleep. Right. Or are you the timid type, you don't like saying anything?
Or
that's the whole point. I don't know her disposition, but her disposition looks like to me she ain't the type to say anything if I believe what she's saying happened that night.
See, I don't know. I don't know because the dog barking and Kaylee was playing with the dog. How would you know Kaylee's playing with the dog if you didn't go out to see Kaylee playing with the dog?
She probably heard Kaylee talking to the dog. That's the only way you would know she's playing with the dog is if you heard her saying something like, get it, girl, get it, boy. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But is it that she was hearing the dog barking, thinking that Kaylee's playing with the dog, and the commotion she's hearing is Kaylee playing with the dog when it's actually the murder's happening and the dog barking because something's going on?
Yeah.
And then the whole, like, are you understand what I'm like? Me, when the things she's saying, I'm just like, okay, but this was going on, and you're putting it out there like it's a nonchalant thing.
Let's hold on a minute. Let's pull it up. Hold on. We'll go back to the beginning of this. Okay. Here we go. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Gonsalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, DM said she heard who she thought was Gonsalves saying something to the effect, "There's someone here." A view of records obtained from a forensic download of Cornoto's phone showed this could have also been Cornoto, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. So now we have to ask, why would they think it was Cornoto just because she was on TikTok? And I don't think you can order TikTok through DoorDash, can you?
No, you can't do it.
So then why would you think it was her? See, that don't make sense. Now rereading it. But here you see it wasn't specific. Because I just read that to you. She said, sounding like Gonsalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms. So that would make me think that the girl was saying something to the dog, because a dog barking would not allude to me that I was playing with the dog. A dog is a dog. It's going to bark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's finish. DM stated she looked out of her bedroom, but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened her door a second time. So let's see. She looked out of her bedroom, didn't see anything. That would be, I guess, number one. Second time, when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room, DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17, a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest, picked up a distorted audio of what sounded like voices of whimper followed by a loud thud. So this is a 5-minute window of one time looking out, somebody saying somebody heard somebody was in the house. Then you open the door the second time, you hear crying, thinking it's Kernodle, and hearing somebody say, "I'm going to help you." And then at approximately 4:17, a security camera across the 50 feet away, let's say, that's the house facing the left, gets a thud. And
she heard the thud.
No, the camera picked up the thud, baby.
Oh, I know, but girl heard the thud too.
Okay, so that means in a 5-minute window from her being on TikTok, Kernodle, so she died within 5 minutes of being on TikTok. So 9 times out of 10, she was up at 4:17. That's it. 5 minutes. Because if the security camera next door picked up a thud, and here it says here, immediately to the northwest, 1122 King Road, picked up a distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17. So this is the jump off in this 4:17. The jump off is right in here at 4:17. Because now we've got barking dog 4:17 being heard, whimper, voices distorted. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west of Kernodle's bedroom. DM stated she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Not past, but towards. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. DM did not state she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. The combination of DM's statements to law enforcement, reviews of downloads of records from BF and DM's phone, and video of a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 and 4:25.
Between 4 and 4:25.
And then he goes on to start talking about the footprint outside the door and all that, and the test that they did.
What made DM wake up at 4 when it's between 4 and 4:25? What made her wake up?
With the dog. That's the start of the conversation. The dog.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't smell right, but none of it smells right, to be honest.
4 to 4:25 is the guesstimate of the crime total.
Yeah, of him going upstairs and then downstairs past the and out the door.
Really? Yeah, it would be quicker than that if he was really there at 4. Stab, 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 come on downstairs, go to their room, stab, 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 and walk back out.
Was there an altercation? Didn't they say someone put up a fight?
Well, that's what I hear. Somebody else said that, but you don't hear that. I just read what they said in there.
But you don't, yeah, and it's not even, well.
There's nothing in there about a fight.
Disclosed in there, yeah. I don't know.
So let's say this. At least at 417, the neighbor's cam audio is picking up a thud, whimpering, and a dog barking. Let's go there.
Okay.
So if Cornodal Xana was on the phone at 412, within 5 minutes, she's already been beat up, stabbed up, and died. And the audio next door is picking that up through the wall, which means if it's distorted on the neighbors, you ought to heard way more inside.
Right, because you're literally next
You're
door
right
in
there.
the same house.
You're just around.
You're on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, you just he goes around the wall to the right, and then her bedroom is down that little short walkway pathway.
Yeah, you're hearing something. You're hearing something. I don't know if we're the one that was down on the first floor. I don't know where her bedroom was at, but you would hear the dog barking.
Because I can't remember if that bedroom is the one that's directly under Cornodal's or it's the one across from that on the first floor.
Right. But if it was under it, you would hear commotion as well.
Yeah, if you were under
you can be in a room downstairs and someone can be upstairs and you can literally hear them peeing through the floor.
Well, I just told you about the UCLA murder. The girl lives in an apartment above and she heard her sorority mate screaming through the walls, the floor, and her dog barking excessively. And that's what made her call 911. And this was like 7 in the morning. And she got an ID of his car and everything.
Right.
Because she got her ass up. So imagine, scream, dog barking, this girl jumps up, you're in the house, and you don't even call 911 and see a whole human.
And the human walks by you, doesn't bother you, and even you had enough time to close and lock the door.
Why are you frozen? You're frozen because you know he came from around that probably Xana's room, and there's no reason for him to be coming around there at 4 in the damn morning because she's got a boyfriend. But something made you freeze. So that should have kicked in an instinct of, I've been hearing strange stuff. He's attributed to that strange stuff. Let me lock this door and call fucking the police.
Right.
We can sort it out however it falls.
Even if you did freeze and then you made yourself unfreeze and then you go into your bedroom and you lock your door, that still makes no sense of why you wouldn't call 911, because if you saw this dude go out the door and it doesn't state that you locked that said door,
didn't hear that either.
What would make you think that
we know she didn't lock it? So you still gave the killer a chance to come back in. That makes no sense.
Right, to come back in, and you still didn't call 911. Like,
so now you got to ask this: you so afraid you locked it because you sensed something wasn't right with him, too afraid to go lock the door, couldn't lock the door. That's why you didn't go lock the door. Or I mean, what is it?
And again, the whole
Denise said maybe he told her not to call the police or he'll come back for her. Well, it seemed like to me she would have told that in the affidavit.
Well, hell, she locked her door.
Well, you still can push your door open, D.
I mean, you can, but
and that's
if that's the case,
you gotta ask yourself that too. Were the kids' doors locked or unlocked? Because if I think ain't nobody in the house, does it really matter about busting the doors open? Think about it. Ain't nobody here but me. I'm intending to kill these people. So when you start talking about, I don't think he bust the doors open, that really don't make sense either, because he knew he was going to kill the people. So if you don't know if the doors are going to be open, you would have to push the doors. See, that's why I tell people don't think.
Yeah.
You did not know that these doors were going to be open. Because this is a free-forming house. So why would I want to leave my door open when there's traffic that comes through here? And I don't know who's got a boyfriend, guy over. So hell yeah, I've locked my damn door.
Right.
So now we got to ask the other question. The footprint, was it facing the door or facing going toward the door to turn toward the kitchen? Bingo.
See, I don't know. I've wondered that too. I wondered if it was facing her door.
Because facing the door means he stood there trying to listen or open the door or grab the handle.
Right. Or would facing the door mean where she's frozen in the doorway, he turned and talked to her?
Well, whatsoever. Okay, but the point is, if he did, why wouldn't you put that in the affidavit? Because I think they would tell that.
Right.
Said it. They'd say, oh, and he also said something to her.
Or he tried to get into her door.
So that's what you got to ask. Did he go to
none of
that door? Did he go to that door when he first went into the kitchen? Because when you open the slider, her door is the door facing the slider past the kitchen. Seemed to me that would be a good opportunity to try to open that door.
Right.
Why not? You got to pass it to go up to the third floor to the stairs. It's sitting there at the stairs. Why not try it? I mean, aren't you in there to kill somebody? How you know for sure where everybody is in the house?
You would have to know.
They all could have been in the living room playing a drinking game or watching a scary movie or action movie.
Right. Like that's what I was thinking. Like you'd have to know exactly whose room is whose.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've never been there before, then how would you know whose rooms is whose?
Everybody keeps going on and on about the M in the window. Oh, that's how he knew Maddie's room. And that don't got a fucking thing to do with nothing because I don't know where you are until I get in the house. So I tell people, think. You got to think. This man don't know these people. So he can't say where they're going to be. So that's why I said the whole situation is crazy. Because
it really
is. People break in people's houses all the time. People breach people's houses all the time. But you got to prove and show how he knew where they were going to be. They could have all been downstairs in somebody's room smoking or drinking. See, he don't know that.
Mm-mm. But he had to
know. They could have been in Sandra's room. They could have been upstairs. Could have been in Kaylee's room. Everybody could have been in the living room playing Twister. So you just gonna go run up on all these people in a room? That's why I said they could have beat his ass if they all was in the same room together. Somebody would have got cut, but they would have lived.
Right.
Because anybody could have picked up something and beat him in the head with a lamp, anything.
I don't know.
Because that's the whole thing is he knew he was going in there to kill, and obviously he assumed he was going to come out. That's brazen as fuck. And he did. And the sick part is he went toe-to-toe with a guy, I would assume. So we got to ask ourselves, was Ethan up or lying down? And I'm assuming she ordered food from DoorDash. I would assume that he also was awake because they were together the whole night. So if she's hungry, he's probably hungry.
Right.
Unless he drank too much and passed out. Or was sleepy. See, we don't know.
Right.
Because the dead can't too. That's why I said toxicology and food contents need to be revealed. That's going to show you who ate, who didn't. Did she get to eat the food? Was the food on the floor? Was the food in the kitchen? Was the food in the bed? Is the food in her stomach?
Right.
That shit, it does matter. Because that's going to show you your timeline. Ordered food, picked up the food, walked in the room, opened the bag, started eating, didn't make it. See where I'm going?
Yeah.
Bag on the floor, bag on the table, bag on the bed. Delene says she lied. Wow. Scary. And then the ultimate question is, if indeed this girl is not telling the truth, what's her motive for lying?
I mean, scared to go to jail? I don't know.
Why have you be scared to go to jail if you don't know the perpetrator?
Oh, I don't. Okay. I got confused on that then.
Mm-hmm. You don't know the perpetrator. The only way you could be afraid and you gave this version of stuff is because you did hear some stuff going on. You did hear something didn't sound right. You did see the perpetrator. He walked by you for whatever reason, but something inside of you made you shut your door and not call 911. What was that reason? And like I said to the public, whether you believe this girl knew him or played possum, didn't want to tell the truth or call 911 for whatever reason, I could say this, and this is my own opinion. I would never room with her.
No.
I would never room with her. I would never go anywhere with her. Because I feel like after what happened in this house, whether you want to believe what she did was out of scare, whatever, what are you going to do the next time you're in a dire situation and you're with somebody? A person could not count on you. And that's very important. Because if it's going to be this freeze flight shit, she ain't the person you want to be with you. You get caught up in something. Because you can't depend on her.
Right.
My thing is, if you did this once, you could do it again. If I'm to believe you actually froze and just hid in your bed and fell asleep. Delene said she heard it all and she didn't care, or she was threatened by him because why didn't she fear for her own life? Exactly. My thing is, if once he left me, whether he said something to me or not, and I had a feeling that something wasn't right with him coming around that corner and count all the stuff I heard, I still would have dialed 911. Because if I know he had no business in there, he didn't come with us, I didn't hear him come in with none of the kids, I would have suspected the worst. It's like I told everybody, you got to use deduction and common sense. All these people lived in the house together. This is not some girl who was visiting and just opened the door and saw a stranger walking through. She actually lived there, paid rent.
Right.
Something made you freeze in your house. So I can't just bet on, well, it's a busy house. They keep a lot of people. She didn't think nothing about it. She just shut the door. But yet you live there. And something made you freeze. What was it? Freeze because you weren't expecting to see him in there? Freeze because he was in all black and a mask? Freeze because you felt something wasn't right with him being there?
Could be freezing because she was hearing everything that was going on.
And the fact you locked your door, and the fact you locked your door means you suspected something wasn't right with him. Because if it wasn't nothing, you don't have to lock your door. Because you know you didn't follow him out to go lock the glass door.
Right.
See, this is a deep story, honey.
It really is, and I think there's more that's going to surface. I could be wrong, but that's just...
I mean, we all could be wrong. And like I said, I would hate to accuse anybody of having anything to do with a vicious crime like his. But to most of us, logically, if we're assuming that you felt something off with the guy, why not call 911 and just be safe than sorry? There's nothing wrong with calling 911 if you think perhaps the person in this house is a burglar or didn't have no business in there. Because what I would have done was text the girls. Hey, Xander, you know who this guy is that just came around the corner? I would have texted every female and waited on a response. Because let me tell you something that would have been strange. You texting all these kids in the window of hearing all this noise and nobody responds, your better half should have known then somebody's probably hurt. Because why would none of the people respond? Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana. And I would have messaged the girl on the bottom floor. Nobody responded in 2 or 3 minutes. I'd have called the police. Because if they're up, they have no reason not to respond. So that should have been common sense. Let me text one of these girls. Let me text all of them, matter of fact. And then when you talk about her opening and closing the doors, when did the bloody footprint, let's say if it was bloody, when did it get at the door?
Right.
Because he had to leave the upstairs after killing them to pass her door. So blood would have been at her door the 3 times she was opening and closing the door. Shut your mouth, Quinn. You want me to believe he only got blood on his shoes when he killed Xana and Ethan?
Ain't no way.
Say what?
That's just in my opinion. I think there was.
And then Delene says all that noise and then silent. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you really should have realized something wasn't right. That's why I said the common sense thing would have been, let me text these girls.
Right.
Hey, I see this guy walk by my door. Is this any of you all's company? Did Ethan invite a guy over? Woo. No response. You should have known then something ain't right. And I'm going to tell you the truth. The way some people are, because I don't really know the chick, some people probably would have been curious, T, and opened the door and went and looked anyway.
Yeah.
Once it got quiet.
Yep.
Once you saw he left out, you went and shut your door. I think I would have probably been peeping out my window to see which direction he went in. Stay woke. 15, 20 minutes, still nothing. I think some people would have went out the room and checked.
I mean, if she did it 3 times,
I don't
know
what would keep you from doing it after it goes silent for about 10, 15 minutes.
She would have opened it again.
Mm-hmm.
Even after she locked the door, she would have waited and then she would have went out.
Okay, so let's go there. Then we'll end this live. She went out and saw blood and went either upstairs or around the corner and saw dead people. And then that means she went back in her room and shut the door again.
Right. To me, that's when I would be in shock, is if I saw that. If I saw a dude, I'm calling 911. But if I went out the room and I saw my roommates, that's when I would be in a frozen state. Because I'm seeing them.
Yeah, I think there's a bathroom next to Xana's.
You know what I mean? That would be my opinion. Seeing someone I don't know in my house. Granted, it's a party house, but guess what? We ain't partying, and I'm seeing someone walk through in a mask. You damn right. You let me live, I'm calling 911. I wouldn't freeze. I would call 911.
Well, let's just say she did come out the room but lied and saw them dead, but then went back in and closed her door and waited till the next morning to pretend she found them. Then, why would you do that?
Because I wouldn't want it to be known that I went and saw and still didn't call 911. Because how would that look?
Explain it logically though. If I went back out the room and saw that they were dead, what's to keep you from just calling 911 and say, I came on out the room after he left because I was curious and I did see blood or them bludgeon and now I'm calling 911.
I don't know. Like I said, that's the point where I would be in shock and frozen. So to me, it makes me wonder, is that when she froze?
That she lied.
When she saw them.
Huh?
Yeah. I'm wondering, did she really freeze if she went out and saw them, but she's saying she froze when she saw him?
Mm-hmm. That she really lied and went out.
Is what I'm wondering.
Waited a while. Maybe she waited a while, 20 minutes, an hour, something piqued her interest. Get back up. Go check.
Right.
I still would have been scared to go back out the room after seeing him, knowing I didn't lock the glass door.
Because
that'd be even worse. Because what if he did say, "Oh, I forgot something"? He came back in and y'all crossed paths. This time he don't give you no pass,
bruh. And because I hate that when I stammer. When I'm stammering with my words.
Well, I think I tell everybody this is a weird story because the object of killing people is to get away. So I don't know of leaving people alive. That's the only part that really makes no sense to me.
Right, and I think that when the whole seeing him and he walked by me, I really want to, in my mind, I'm putting, okay, was you peeping through your door? And that's whenever he
and then went back in her room and locked herself in and waited. Maybe that's when she froze.
Right, because
that means she lied then.
Right, because I mean, if you try to play the scenario in your head of her being,
but why not call 911? Either way, let's just look at it the honest way. Once you're in the room with the door closed, you don't know if the person is going to come back in or not because you didn't lock the glass slider.
Right.
You don't know how allegedly they came in. So you're at risk either way because you're still in the fucking house. Anybody can bum rush a door. It's just a door.
Yeah.
Not a fucking iron gate. So I think I've been somewhere in the closet and fucking 911 and let them know I'm on this side of the house in the closet. Please send somebody immediately. These people are dead up in here. And I ain't coming out this room until you identify yourself as an officer.
I would do it. You would do it. But apparently
she had to clean up. Okay, Delane, Lord have mercy. Damn.
She ain't. I don't know. I don't know. Because I still can't wrap that in my I can't wrap that in my head of a killer seeing me in the doorway and he just walks by me.
Yeah, I can believe that.
That's the thing is he walks by me.
It'd have to be pitch ass black up in that house. Kitchen, every room was dark. And he was just running up out of there. Because I can say in a dark room, all the rooms are dark. Somebody could be standing possibly in the doorway and you don't see him standing there. You like you get up, get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, and you can walk by him and you didn't see him. Or they could be sitting on the couch and you just went, you weren't paying attention. I know that could be possible. So I ain't gonna say it's not
tunnel
possible.
Vision. Okay.
But deliberately seeing me in a doorway, I don't know. But the fact that he said, did you arrest somebody else?
Sticks in your brain.
You can't not think about if indeed he had a sidekick. Because you got to ask yourself, when was it that he said that? Woke up out his sleep from the raid, or once he got to the police station and was a little bit lucid?
Right.
Well, if you were screaming when you saw the bodies, we don't know because this is her version, so we don't know when she saw the bodies actually. My understanding, she didn't see them till morning. Almost noon. The rumor that's on social media, whoever's supposed to be speaking on behalf of them. Was she friends with the roommate that committed suicide? I don't know.
Nobody knows these kids.
That's why I said. But I told myself that eventually something will come out about one of them negative because I know how the world is. And this finally came out December 9th about this girl, Hannah and Maddie. Now, I don't know if there's any truth to it. But I tell you what, that'd be a hell of a rumor to make up about a person bullying somebody and they killed themselves.
Right.
So what you have to do if you want to find out the truth, just Google their names and see what their previous addresses come up.
Yeah.
They come up the same address, then 9 times out of 10, they lived in the same house or apartment.
I don't know. But Queen, I'm going to get off here and go to bed because I got to get ready for school.
Okay. Bless you, honey. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
You're welcome. Good night, honey. All right, everybody. That's T, my mod. Thank you all for joining me. This commentary is pertaining to the noise complaints at 1122 King Road. Was Bryan Kohberger the caller of these noise complaints August 16th, September 1st? Noise complaints of the other house around the corner with the guys gathering. I showed you that video at the beginning of this live stream. And did he know any of the girls? Is there more to this story, or we're just stuck on this girl being left alive? And possibly he did have tunnel vision, walked out, wasn't paying attention to her in the doorway. He was trying to get out of there, hurrying. Or is there more to this second floor roommate being left behind? Because one would say all the work he did in trying to cover his tracks, getting to Pennsylvania, then why would he leave somebody alive? Would he be so foolish to walk by a whole human and say nothing? Or is she leaving out something such as he said something to her walking by, threatened her? But then why not tell it? Maybe she didn't want to tell it because he hadn't been caught yet. That's a good theory. Was she friends with the girl that killed herself? I don't know. Is there truth to that Maddie Mogan being in the roommate with the girl who killed herself back in February 22? I don't know. Does that suicide have any relevance to this storyline? I don't know. Because I don't even know if Kohberger has any knowledge of these kids once he touched down the summer of 2022. But this is a weird story, odd. But one thing I said in my last live is that the earth has to get retribution for said things done to people, said to people, wrong things. The earth's got to get it back. And it'd be very sick and macabre to find out that Maddie and any of these girls teased this certain person, Hannah, and then later they end up dead many months later. Boomerang. Karma. And that's a cruel thing to say, I'm sure. Some people will say, that's cruel to say that. But see, you do not know the day that you're going to be called away from the earth and how you're going to leave here. And if anything you had done or said is the reason for you leaving here, or you left here because the earth had to come collect. No, it sounds macabre, just talking out loud. But that would be very peculiar. If one was a bully, caused one to kill themselves, and then many months later, almost a year later, they are bludgeoned to death in their bed with their other friend. That would definitely sound like a movie. Scary movie. Interesting plot twist. Will they have evidence to show how he found these kids, targeted these kids? Being there 12 times mean he chose this house for a reason, or the occupants in the house. And who was the target? Were these kids collateral damage just because they were there? But then one would say, well, how were they collateral? If one of the girls on the top floor was the target, why are two alive? And if you had plans on killing people in the house and didn't mind taking down others as collateral, then you wouldn't have had a problem taking down the other two. What's the big deal? Breach a door, kick in a door. Who's going to tell it? And who's going to stop you? Nobody. Because it was brazen to go up in a house with a parking lot filled with cars and an actual guy in the house who did not win. Was he jealous of these kids? Watched them, wanted to have their life, their lifestyle, their exuberance, their happiness. He's indeed a thief. And he came in the night and stole these kids' lives for his own self-serving purposes. Does he have any remorse? Of course not. Is he going to fight this to the very end? Yes. Will he implicate somebody else? I believe so. Will he say he knew the girls? Possibly. Will he get off? I hope not. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ began to 129, Cash App, all stickers and chats are welcome during my live streams tomorrow. I will bring you commentary, later today, of his status hearing, and we will see what happens. It is not expected to last long, and I will bring you an update pertaining to that said information. But this live stream is to take a deep dive into Kohberger, the nexus between he and the young ladies, if indeed he's the one who was, making the phone calls for the noise complaints. How does somebody know that a girl and a guy were on the back porch during one of the noise complaints? That means it had to be somebody with an eye view of the house. Was it an actual neighbor? Were these kids building enemies besides Kohberger? That's something I thought about when I did my last live. Were there other people who did not like these kids, did not favor these kids? Because, smiling faces having fun, drinking, does not mean that everybody in the group, the crowd, favors you. And I thought about that with the noise complaints, because at one time I did think that perhaps it was a neighbor that killed the kids before the arrest of Bryan C. Kohberger. Very interesting. Thank you for your time. You have been listening to The Vote.